Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches, free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network.
Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to Fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams.
And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your right, everybody's right, and I'm Eli Moon, and we are back in the saddle, on the saddle adjacent here on your Wednesday edition of Inside Edge Primetime. Welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you being with us for another evening here on the Inside Edge Network. We appreciate you spending the time. We're here with you for the next hour, and then, of course, a 3-hour stream, one phenomenon, one stream, 3 shows, that is. We got, of course, Inside Edge Primetime, Chad and I, 10 to 11. Autumn Chisholm, tonight with Chad Bryan, the Daily Spiral, 11 to 12. And 12 to 1, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford, our program director and bro. He is on vacation until next week, taking care of some things. So I will be in the saddle tonight, and I'll be talking with you at midnight as well. So excited to get after it with all of you. If it's your first time, hello. If you've been here before, welcome back. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow at Inside Edge Net on all the socials, YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the great stuff, Twitch as well. Smash that notification bell so you know when we're going live. Of course, we have 4 great daily programs for you. We have, Unfiltered with Kyle Cornell, 5 to 6 p.m. weekdays. He's on vacation this week, but he'll be back next week. And, of course, you got to see him the last few nights on Midnight Run, Kyle Cornell, that is. Then you have Inside Edge Primetime, Chad and I, the Daily Spiral with Autumn, and, of course, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford. So you can stay up to date with all that, all the great weekly programming as well, and read about your favorite personalities at InsideEdgeNetwork.com, where you can read about Chad, myself, and everybody who does a great job. Go over to our partners page, cannot do without them, Fanatics.com, AlleyRoseFragrances.com, W Energy, Monster Moments, SportsMemorabilia.com, and Omega Video Marketing. And we couldn't do it without you. So go to the merchandise store, grab a shirt, a hat, a mug, a polo, a windbreaker, grab it all. Rep Cleveland's digital leader and your source for sports, entertainment, mental health conversations, news, and everything in between. And of course, cannot let the people forget, Chad. They got to go grab the Inside Edge Network app on Roku so they can take us wherever they'd like to go. We're on Roku as well. So stay up to date with us here on the Inside Edge Network. We appreciate you for tuning in wherever you may be. We're going to get into a lot here tonight. We're talk a little bit more about those Guardians. They are a game back of the Chicago White Sox. How can they get into first? How can they jockey for the AL Central? Chad and I were talking after the show yesterday where it seems like the Central really might be more important than years past. And I know that sounds silly to say, but usually it's okay, they get it. You know, they won the division. Cool. The division, however, this year is one of 2 really only competitive divisions in baseball in the AL right now. And it's something where the Guardians are going to have to really figure out how to win the Central to possibly get into the playoffs. Otherwise, they might be in some trouble. So we'll talk about that later on. And, of course, we go way back on this Wednesday. We're going to do all of that. But before we begin, Chad Bryan, how are you doing tonight, pal?
I am doing fantastic.
Yes.
I'm doing great, man. It's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. That's good. We're getting there. By the way, I wanted to say I didn't get a chance last night. Like we sped right through. The hour went so fast. We had so much fun. Time flies, having fun.
So much fun.
It went so fast last night. I did not get a chance to say happy birthday to my friend Molly in Turkey.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not sure she's watching right now because it's about 5 a.m. in Turkey. But happy birthday! She had a birthday yesterday on 7/7. So happy birthday to my friend Molly in Turkey. Our friend, my wife and I, both of our friends. We've been texting a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure I said that on the show. Didn't get to last night, so I wanted to say it tonight. So happy birthday, Molly. Hope you had a good day.
Heck yeah.
Gong. I love it.
Yes, we're on fire. We're on fire. Heck yeah. All right. Well, hey.
Judges?
Hey, happy.
They said yes. They like the gong.
Love that. Love that.
They're fine.
Well, happy birthday to Molly, and yes, glad to hear you're doing a little bit well over there, Chad B. It's been a hot few days here in Cleveland, Ohio. Not as hot as it was the last few days before these last few days, but
still warm.
It is warm. I have not got a tan yet. I did cut the grass the other day. I explained that venture, and it's been something, pal. But I'll tell you this: it's gonna be a fun time here this upcoming weekend, the next few weekends. We got Gutty Mac's listening party at Brothers Lounge. I'll be hosting that, so that's gonna be a great time. I got a few other great events. I was actually out at Brothers Lounge before the show tonight, right here on Primetime. I was out basically just talking about Moon Bash, which is July 25th, all 4 stages, both patios, both stages at Moon Bash at Brothers Lounge. InsideEdge Network will be there, so you can go check us out and see what's going on with us as well. But I was out there rocking out, just talking to the people, did a song. They asked me to do a song, so I did a song. And so we're here. We're rocking, man. I got my Omar Vizquel jersey on tonight.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I came to play.
I went back to the 2014 Orange Bowl. It didn't go well for the Buckeyes, but I'm still wearing the shirt. That's okay.
2014's so obviously everybody that knows me knows I'm not the biggest Buckeye guy. Now I am because my little brother goes there, so I got a little bit of a soft spot. But 2014, not to age myself here, Chad, but I was a senior in high school. 2014 to 15, yeah. So that team, not necessarily because I know that was the year before, but the 2015 run, Cardale Jones and just the national championship. Well, I didn't think that the Ohio State Buckeyes could do it. I said, you know what? There ain't no way. They're missing their starters. They're missing guys. There is no way they do it. So I bet my hair, and I bet about $40. I went to prom with a buzz cut. It was not good. Not good.
No money. Buzz cut and no money. Yeah.
No money. $40 back then, bro. When you're a senior in high school, bro, that's a decent amount of money, man. So
that's like $384 today in today's. Well, not in today's money, but just in adult money.
Bro, that's like 8 gallons of gas in today's economy.
That used to be a full tank and then some when I was in high school. I don't want to talk about it. That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Crazy. Well, hey, Chad, here's the thing, man. We're going to talk Guardians later on. We'll talk some baseball. The big thing that's been on my mind recently in terms of the basketball news right now has been just this LeBron James. Obviously, we're on day, I believe, 8 now. No, excuse me. I think day 9, if I'm not mistaken. But we are almost entering double digits of LeBron James watch. And I'm still, it baffles me that this is where we're at. 16 years ago when the first decision happened, we saw LeBron get up there and talk in Connecticut about how he's going and taking his talents to South Beach. When he came home, he announced it, through magazines, and it was announced abruptly, very excitingly, And then when he left to Los Angeles, kind of was like, whatever, it just kind of happened. It was announced, and we moved on.
Yeah.
Now we basically get all of our information for LeBron James through Rich Paul, and the Rich Paul, Max Kellerman, their podcast. I believe it's called Game On Podcast. I want to double check here. But, that is basically how we are getting all of our information when it comes to this LeBron James search, a Game Over podcast. And I got 2 questions for you when it comes to this. One, I don't know if you saw, but Bob Myers, who's obviously involved in the front office with the Philadelphia 76ers, mentioned why LeBron, it would make a ton of sense for him to go there. Clearly no bias at all from somebody that works in the front office of Philadelphia. I mean, no bias. But he was on the podcast.
Yeah, it's fine. He crunched the numbers.
Yeah. He was on the podcast and kind of baffled me because it's like, okay, dude, we're starting to see more and more intertwining, which is kind of odd. And it's making me feel, I don't know how to feel about it. It makes me feel weird. But I don't know how you feel about, first off, the way all this is going down on Rich Paul's podcast, where we're basically finding all of our updates through him. And number 2, have you started to lean one way? I know the other day you said it kind of feels Cleveland. Are you ready to stand firm in the decision that he's coming back here, or do you feel it somewhere else? 2 questions for you.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, as far as all the information coming from Rich Paul, I mean, that's just kind of that's the age that we live in. It was actually today, Eli. This is good. I could have used this for Wayback Wednesday, but I didn't. On July 8th, 2010, LeBron James. This was the day we burnt jerseys here in Cleveland. Well, I didn't burn any jerseys, but some people burnt jerseys. People were really mad. Again, I listen. Yeah, it was upsetting, right? You're upset that, I mean, it's the best player in basketball at the time. He's not coming back to your team. But I still will always side with the players on this. On free agency, choices, issues, whatever. I'm always going to side with the players. I mean, that's why there's free agency. They get to do what they want. They don't owe anyone anything, right?
Right.
They're the ones that have worked their whole lives to get to where they are. To get to the point where they're in demand and, can sign with pretty much any team they want or whatever at certain times of their career. So I think you have to let players explore that. And you can't really get too mad at them. I mean, it's their life, it's their career.
Mm-hmm.
Not much you can really say about that. But yeah, as far as Rich Paul breaking all the news, I mean, that's just kind of the time that we live in, right? I mean, that's how we get our information now. We get it through influencers, right? Social media people, agents sometimes. I think about like the days when Scott Boras was like, nobody even knew what Scott Boras looked like, right? He just ran baseball with he was like Darth Vader behind the scenes, like ruining baseball slowly, whatever, just like signing free agents or whatever, but or not free agents, but signing players to his, to his agency, and then, essentially taking them out of the running for 10 teams because 10 teams wouldn't mess with Scott Boras.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, it's just I guess it's the way it goes. I mean, things change. So yeah, if we're going to hear information from Rich Paul, we're going to hear it from Rich Paul, but that's whatever. I don't really have much of a thought on that. It's just, you get the information where you get it from. It's no big deal. As far as where I lean on LeBron, I don't know. The further this goes on, it's like, I guess it's just that trepidation, right? Like I yesterday, I think you said it was about 85% in your mind.
Right.
LeBron came back to Cleveland. I'm probably above 80. I'm not quite at 85, but every day it goes down like 1.5%, right? Every time we hear someone come on, TV or our phone or wherever and make a case for LeBron going to a team like the Sixers, right? And then you look at it and you're like, yeah, it makes sense. Or the Heat or, Minnesota, whatever. Some of these places, some of these destinations seem to make some sense for LeBron. And listen, I get it. Everybody wants the story. Well, not everybody, but some people want that storybook ending. They want him to come back home, and coming back to Cleveland going nowhere guarantees a title. Okay. First of all, nowhere guarantees a title for LeBron, but it's not like he just comes back to Cleveland and, okay, now the Cavs are going to win a title. There we go.
That's where I'm at. It's like him by himself maybe doesn't win a championship. I think that's why the Cavaliers have something up their sleeve. Like I said yesterday, the Donovan Mitchell signing, the 4-year extension.
I'm glad you said sleeve, Eli. I wasn't sure where you were going. You said the Cavaliers have something up their sleeve, and I was like, I'm glad you said sleeve.
Thank you. I'm very eloquent with my words most of the time, Chad B, and I try to be so tonight. But with that being said, I think the Cavaliers have something up their sleeve. They signed Donovan to a 4-year extension. $278, I believe, for Donovan. So that's a lot of money, and you're not going to invest that just to invest it. If you're the Cavaliers and you felt like you weren't going to be able to go make another title push with Donovan involved in some capacity, whether he is the leader of this team, whether he is the number 2 and he has to learn how to be a leader, or he's just cemented as a really, really good, if not great, number 2 option, then the Cavaliers feel some sort of future with him. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be some reason he's coming in, coming back to Cleveland. Obviously, he'd be here this season, but to invest long term, is it the selling point of LeBron? And then after LeBron, we're going to continue to be aggressive and move pieces to get pieces around you. Like, what exactly is it that they told Donovan? Because it wasn't just, we really love you in Cleveland. And he didn't just go, I love Cleveland. As much as it wants to be made out to be by media outlets and the fans, yes, I'm not doubting Donovan Mitchell doesn't love Cleveland. Like, I'm sure he loves Cleveland. He has shown that time and time again. He's in the community. He's very immersed here in Cleveland. But they told him something, folks. There's no reason he would sign a 4-year extension, basically the rest of his prime, in Cleveland if they just said, and we're planning on running this back for the next 4 years.
Right.
Why would he sign up for that? So there's something.
How Pat, we're going to stand, Donovan. Okay, yes. Sure, I'll sign.
It's like, so maybe that's, something the Cavs know that we don't know in terms of, is LeBron, who comes with him? Is it going to be DeMar DeRozan being, the first guy off the bench, possibly, after you ink James Harden to a team-friendly deal? Do you go out and get Anthony Davis? Is Evan Mobley, is Jared Allen, are both those guys safe still at this point? You wonder. But one thing's for certain, after the weeks we've debated here on Primetime and across the network about Donovan Mitchell and his future, one thing's about as certain as you can say, and that he is in Cleveland's future for the foreseeable future. We won't be having discussions about who's Donovan going to get traded for.
Yeah.
Just simply because, one, they just signed it. There's some commitment level there. And two, a lot of teams don't want to take on that type of money to go into the second apron. The second apron has made trades in the NBA so much tougher. So Cleveland has made their bet essentially with Donovan. What they do around him now is to be seen.
Yeah, hopefully they don't sleep. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like some of these contracts they would be a harbinger of something, right? Now I don't know anymore in the NBA. It's really weird. I'm watching videos of all the jerseys burning, by the way.
No, don't do it, buddy.
I'm just remembering that time, man. You got to sometimes. I think you have to go back, even if the history's bad, Eli. You have to remember it, or you're doomed to repeat it, right? So maybe just by watching him take his talents to South Beach, 16 years ago, maybe that'll keep us from having that happen this year. But I don't know. I don't think that's how that works. But I don't know. I just like I said, every day that it goes on, I feel like the percentage of him coming back goes down a little bit, because if he were that sold on coming home, what would there be to listen to? But I do believe that he's listening, as he should. I don't have any problem with it. I don't think that, again, he doesn't owe us anything. He came back for the second run. It was a heck of a run, man. 4 straight finals appearances, a title finally here in Cleveland. LeBron doesn't owe anybody anything. I mean, it's up to him. I know people want to give you the ring chaser moniker or whatever, it's a hit on your legacy. I mean, at this point, I don't know. Does he care about his legacy? I think he just wants to play. I think he wants to be on a competitor. It doesn't really – it's not about, trying to build his legacy at this point. I mean, he's going to be 42 years old. I think it's just about like, hey, if I come back and play at 42 years old, I'd like to do something good for my son. It's nothing wrong with being a good father. And B, I'd also like to be on a pretty good team, because I want to play as much basketball as I can. I want to get as far as I can. I'd like to see the finals one more time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to be the number one option. He doesn't have to be, the reason that team has been, dragged to the finals. He's not. This isn't 2007 anymore. It's not going to happen like that.
Here's why I disagree. Because if it was just about happiness, he would have just stayed in Los Angeles and played with his son. How much more happy can you be as a proud father besides playing with your son?
This is why I think the Lakers moved on from him. I think the Lakers were like, hey, listen. Man, you can say whatever you want and whatever, the court of public opinion will weigh on it, but you can say that you're not returning, but we're just we're done.
Sure, but I think there's other options out there for him if it was just about being happy. I do think there's a tiny degree of, yes, he wants to be happy where he goes, but you know what makes LeBron happy? Being in title contention. So he's obviously he's looking, but I think in terms of legacy, because you had said something there about, he's not really worried about his legacy. And I disagree. I think he is. Otherwise, he would have signed somewhere. If he's not worried about legacy and just wanting to team up with somebody, whether it's Fresh or one of his bros, he would have already been in Golden State at this point, or he'd be out in Minnesota for that matter. He'd already be signed. There's something he's waiting to see, and seeing how these teams, these final dominoes, DeMar DeRozan, if Anthony Davis gets moved, Jonathan Kuminga's still out there. I think that, personally, bro, I believe that he is waiting on these types of moves and other moves and all the dust to settle so he can know who is going to put him in the best position to win a championship, because he's not naive to the fact that if he wins one more, first off in his final season, and he does it with either a different team or he gives Cleveland their second one, after coming back again, he's going to be talked about in terms of legacy greats. That's going to do something for your legacy. I do think he's weighing all that out right now. Otherwise, he would already sign somewhere. I believe there's other teams that could offer more money. There's other teams where he hasn't been in the different city, where he could just go kick it. I think there's definitely a lot being weighed into this decision for LeBron, because otherwise I don't think it would last this long. I think he's waiting for these other dominoes and everything else, but we'll keep an eye on it, Chad. We'll keep an eye on him. This guy definitely loves to make a story, and here we are talking about it almost, day 8, day 9 of this thing, so
yeah,
here we are.
Day 8, day 9, year 20, yeah, here we are.
Exactly. Well, here's what we're going to do, folks. We're going to let you grab some drinks, whatever you want to grab some caffeine, whatever you need. Grab your dinner, get ready wherever you're at. Chad and I are going to take a quick break here as well. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Guardians. They are a game back of the AL Central lead. The Chicago White Sox continue to show up, despite Chad and I, and more so that guy on the right, you're right, everybody's right, saying that they wouldn't be here around this time. So we'll keep an eye. We'll see where they're at in a month from now and where they're at right now. We'll talk about the AL Central, talk about the American League, talk about some teams that have surprised us a little bit. I got a few for Chad I'm going to throw his way. And then later on, I throw Chad in the time machine he gets ready to go, and we're going to go way back Wednesday. So stick with us here. This is Inside Edge Primetime on the Inside Edge Network. That's Chad B. To my right, your right, everybody's right. I'm Eli Moon. We're back after this.
Key On Sports is the leader in Ohio high school athletic coverage in written, print, and video streaming. From the latest news and results and written content to the high school football game of the week every Friday, Key On Sports has you covered. The vision of 15-time published author Vince McKee has become the most trusted site in Ohio high school athletic news. From podcasts to player profiles, Key On Sports is your one stop for all of it. Visit them today at keyonsports.com or on YouTube at Key On Sports. Check out their socials on Twitter and Facebook as well.
Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. With over 15 flavors to choose from, you can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code InsideEdge10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Discover our collection of body mists made with clean, minimal ingredients. Handcrafted with natural essential oils and clean ingredients, they offer a natural alternative to synthetic fragrances. Perfect for sensitive skin and those seeking clean, mindful self-care, and the perfect gift for you or your special someone. Courtesy of Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers, use that promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Whether searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at SportsMemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and players. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the SportsMemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Go to SportsMemorabilia.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. SportsMemorabilia.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Find us on InsideEdgeNetwork.com for the latest information on your favorite shows, personalities, and network partners. Plus, guess what? We have a merch shop. That's right, we have network polos, t-shirts, champion jackets, hats, and bottles. Rep the network. Every purchase supports independent sports and entertainment media. Use the QR code on your screen right now to check out InsideEdgeNetwork.com. That's InsideEdgeNetwork.com.
Welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan, he's over there. To my right, your right, everybody's right. And I am Eli Moon. We are back in the saddle, on the saddle, saddle adjacent here on your Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. We got to cover some more LeBron. Where's that guy going? We're not sure yet, but we should have an answer here soon, folks. The latest LeBron has taken to sign. If you were wondering, for a trivia question at home, July 11th. July 11th. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. Of course, if you're here for the first time, make sure you like, subscribe, follow at Inside Edge Net. Chad and I are here with you till 11. We have the Daily Spiral with Autumn Chisholm and Chad Bryan tonight, 11 to 12. And then Midnight Round with Anthony Alford. He's back next week. I will be filling in for the rest of the week. They're at midnight with you. So make sure you hit that at Inside Edge Net. Like, subscribe, follow YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, all the great stuff. Go to InsideEdgeNetwork.com, read about your favorite personalities like Chad and I. Go over to the partners page, our partners page, a lot of great stuff there. And, of course, the merchandise store. Grab something nice. Rep Cleveland's digital leader, your source for sports, entertainment, mental health conversations, news, and everything in between. And download the Inside Edge Network app on Roku. We're everywhere, so take us everywhere with you. Everywhere with the Roku app. All right, Chad B., you look like you're looking at the plans for space. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at this White Sox roster, and I'm looking at
You look so puzzled. Like you looked like you were reading like some serious science paperwork or something. You're like, and if you carry the 1, and then that's an imaginary number, so that's and pi is greater than Well, cookies are better than pie, But
everybody knows that. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Right now it's just that this is a team that should not be in first place in this division.
Right.
The pitching's okay. I mean, you got a couple guys going all right. You got a couple guys that have some home runs. Nobody really has an impressive OPS. Like I'm going to maintain my statement. This team will not be here in first place in this position in August. You can only play over your head for so long. Ask Cal Raleigh. I mean, you can only do it for so long until the baseball gods will find you, Eli. I mean, baseball is a very humbling sport. They'll find you, and they'll bring you back down to earth with a thud, man. It'll happen. It's going to happen.
I mean, that's fair, but, like, buddy, I'm going to be honest with you, and I definitely respect your baseball knowledge, but we said this back in April and, even May that they wouldn't be here around this point, around the All-Star break, that they'd start slumping, and respectfully, pal, they haven't. And I'm a Guardians fan. I got my Vizquel on tonight. I mean, like, but it's starting to scare me. We were on the phone yesterday, not to peel the curtain back for a moment, but Chad and I discussed typically after the show, we get on the phone after 1 a.m., once the midnight run responsibilities are done, we talk about the next day, so we can get ready for you guys and deliver you a great product. So I'm on the phone with Chad yesterday, and we're talking about these White Sox. I know you remember this, and we're talking about, and you said this, about how they're good. They're a good team. They're just ahead of the curve. But Here's the thing. Maybe that's just where they're at. Maybe they jumped a year. This is the curve, and I know there's one-offs. The Cal Raleigh situation, you bring that up. There's teams that have one sparkling year, and then they kind of phase out, real quickly after. But exactly. But maybe this is the beginning of a White Sox run here. They got a lot of young talent. And you thought, I mean, dude, I'm going to be honest. When they traded Luis Robert this past offseason, we thought it was blouses for them. I mean, that was their big pop in the offense. And now, I mean, I get it's not household names. We're not sitting here talking about the Dodgers-esque of lineup. This isn't Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman. I get that. But these are guys that are contributing to the White Sox, and I'm not defending them because obviously I'm not hoping that they continue to do this as a Guardians fan. But right now, it's like this might be what they are this year, man. I mean, they are winning games that they shouldn't be winning, and they're winning games against the Guardians pretty handily. Like, I know, okay, we could play the what-if game, of course, if this went this way and that went that way. I get it. But the Guardians needed 2 walk-offs to tie that series recently here against the White Sox. So it's kind of impressive what they've been doing, as much as it pains me to say.
No, it is. And listen, whoever wins this AL Central is probably going to be the only team in baseball that's under 500 against teams that are over 500, by the way. The White Sox are terrible against teams that are over 500. If they get into I haven't looked at their schedule, I'll be honest with you. But if they get into a stretch where they got to play, Yankees, Rays, whatever, there aren't a whole lot of teams that are over 500 in the AL. But if they get into a stretch where they got to play some teams that are over 500, they could struggle. They're 17-22 against teams that are over 500. The Guardians aren't any better. They're 22-28. They've played, I guess a lot more, games against teams that are over 500 or whatever. But they're also not any better. You got the Twins that are 19-25. You have to go all the way down to the Tigers in this division to find a team that's over 500 against teams over 500. They're 24-18. It's inexplicable because they're 42-50 overall, and they're 6 games out of first in the division. But whatever. So the Tigers stink against bad teams. The rest of the division stinks against good teams. I don't know what to even do with this AL Central anymore. I mean, there's a chance that the whole division can get kicked out of baseball.
Yeah, hey, easy, pal.
Maybe
easy.
Not.
But the one thing that does stand out to me too, and you may have mentioned this, but the White Sox, 19-28 on the road as well. They don't really take care of their business on the road, and that could be something, depending on the rest of their schedule shapes up. This could be something really good for the Guardians, depending if they make a move or not. And again, we're kind of more under the assumption that they're not going to make a move. 3 All-Stars, 2 of them being rookies, and Messick and Mazana, then of course Kate Smith joining there as well. Just that mixed in with, they keep thinking, well, Jose's coming back. DeLauder's already back, And, of course, we'll get Angel Martinez back, so why should we have to make a move? I mean, it could bite the Guardians in the ass, though. We talked about it again yesterday, about, and I talked a little bit at the beginning of the show, talked about the Guardians, yes, most of the times, okay, winning the AL Central is kind of like a given. Win the Central, but try to position yourself for a top AL slot. This year, it's like the Central really is more important, if that makes sense. And, I wouldn't just be worrying about beating the White Sox and these other teams in the Central, the Twins, depending on what kind of rise they go on in the second half. Mm-hmm. But really, if the Guardians don't win the Central, Chad, I mean, they really could miss the playoffs, which is something we haven't thought about in a long time in Cleveland, just embarrassing missing the playoffs. But, okay, let's run through it here. Rays are going to win the Central, or excuse me, the East, in my opinion. Now, the Yankees couldn't make a run. They're getting Judge back here. I'd imagine maybe in the next month or so, just depending on where, his imaging comes back and everything. But, okay,
the Yankees have been going through it, man. They're 2-8 over their last 10. They've been going through it.
Yeah, they need Judge back ASAP. Ben Rice has been holding his own for most of the season, but they just don't have enough pop, which is crazy to say for a team that buys their offense. But they don't have enough pop right now in their offense. Yeah. We got the Rays, and then, of course, you have the White Sox, who, let's give them the Central right now because that's where they're at. And you got the Rangers. Okay. You're like, okay, well, the Guardians are fine. Yeah, well, they're not. Seattle, who's had a real subpar year. The record shows one game above 500, but that offense has been dreadful at times. Yeah. Chad's brought up Cal Raleigh. He's been dreadful at moments in time. Josh Naylor, not so much Cleveland's favorite anymore that is left. But he has obviously been up and down. This whole offense has been up and down for Seattle. Their pitching hasn't been as strong as it was last year. They're in a weird spot. And there's still only a game, or if not a half game, back of the Guardians for that last wild card slot, or excuse me, the second wild card slot. Mm-hmm. The Yankees right now would hold that first one, so it'd be Yankees, Guardians, and then the Mariners are hanging out, and the Astros. Let's not forget them as well, Chad. You're sitting there with the Astros, who are 46 and 48, but they're playing some real good baseball right now. Yordan Alvarez, who I still want to take a look into the numbers here, maybe this week, if not, when I come back from vacation the week after, next week. But Yordan Alvarez, he is having an MVP season. They are starting to catch some fire, and it makes me think, man, like, the Guardians' only bet to probably get into the playoffs is just outbeating the White Sox. And then whoever doesn't win the Central, sorry, you don't make the playoffs this year, because I think you're getting two teams out of the East, and I think you're probably getting two teams out of the West. The Mariners are going to continue to play good baseball, maybe, or really, the Astros are going to keep going.
Well, and listen, to my point, I will say this about the White Sox. They've started July 2-5. Right. They've lost the first two games, and their whole key, like I said, the pitching's not, it's whatever. They've given up 410 runs, but they've scored 429. No one expected that out of this White Sox offense. It was miserable last year, right?
Right.
They've improved, but here's the trend. I mean, now these 3 games against the Guardians, or 4 games against the Guardians, rather, lost 6-5, this being the White Sox. Lost 4-3, won 3-1. Okay, scored 7 runs, won 7-6. They've lost these first 2 games against the Red Sox in the series, 8-1, 5-0. Listen to their schedule for July. After they finish up with the Red Sox tomorrow, they have a 110 game, against Boston at home. Then they'll play the Athletics. They play the A's. Then it's the All-Star break, so they get a little bit of a break there. But they've got a 3-game series against Oakland, and then they go to Toronto, who hasn't been playing well, but is pretty talented. They'll go to Texas. The Rangers are a decent team. Then they have the Astros. Then they have the Yankees. And then they go to Tampa Bay and play the Rays. So they've got – now here comes this, like I said, this tough stretch of their schedule where they're playing some teams that are hovering around 500. They're going to be a couple teams that are over 500. I think this month, like I said, I don't think the White Sox will be here in August. July is going to tell you everything you need to know about Chicago. We'll find out. I guess we'll know by, July 31st or so, that first game with Tampa Bay, where they truly sit. But I think this is where you can see the White Sox start to not plummet, but struggle even more against some of these better teams that they have on the schedule. So we'll see.
Well, I sure hope so, because if not, and if they get through that type of month and they play good baseball and they continue to hang on to the Central,
then they're going to win the division. Yeah,
that's worrisome for the Guardians. But just looking on the other side of things here too, because I think the Guardians have got complacent in the front office, and I love the Guards, and I think they've had a fun year despite still being a game back in the Central. I think there's been a lot of fun with some of the rooks. Seeing some of the excitement from Messick on the mound, Bazana at second. Just some of these cool moments. Cade Smith leading Major League Baseball in saves as the closer. There's a lot of great stuff here. However, I think the front office, and I think, it's been no secret the Dolans have never wanted to spend money, so it's not like they just learned this year that it might put them in a position where they may not win the World Series, but now we're in a position where they may miss the postseason. And that's something where, how are you going to sell that to Jose Ramirez? How are you going to sell that to some of these veterans on the team that have been faithful to you, really been rocking with you, especially Jose, though, out of all the guys? How are you going to sell that to them? And what are you going to do to get better? Because Well, last time I checked, the lockout is more and more heating up as it's going to become a thing here by the end of the year.
Yep.
So now you got a whole baseball season off. And then when you come back, Jose's what, 38 years old? So what exactly are we getting out of the Jose Ramirez last contract? I know it sounds very controversial, and I love him here in Cleveland. Let me be clear. I love him here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But if we weren't going to do anything to better this roster around him, it's like the whole Joe Thomas argument. And I know it makes people in Cleveland uncomfortable because Jose is like ours, like in terms of like he chose us multiple times. There was no argument. He didn't fight for more money. He said, I'll take the hometown discount. I love Cleveland. It's my second home. And I appreciate him. He is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Cleveland baseball player of all time.
Yeah.
But, man, I want to see the guy win, too. He deserves to go out there and get into a chance to win. And if it's not here, then maybe the Guardians after this lockout need to start discussing where Jose goes and finishes the last year or two. He can come back to Cleveland. He can retire a Guardian. He can go into the Hall of Fame as a Guardian. But, you owe it to him. It's like the whole debate, Chad, of Joe Thomas. And, we just had the debate with Myles Garrett, and obviously he's now a Los Angeles Ram. But it's like if the Guardians are not going to take care of this roster the way they should, knowing that they have a future Hall of Famer on the roster in its final few years, then as a Guardian fan, that is the type of stuff that frustrates, and you wonder why eras after me, I'm 28, and there's people even around me, my age, that aren't big Guardians fans, except for going out there and having a summer beer and enjoying the ballpark.
Yeah.
There's not that much of an excitement anymore because this is how they treat all of the greats that have been around since I've basically been watching baseball. CeCe Sabathia wins the Cy Young, Guardians trade him. Indians at the time. Cliff Lee finally gets healthy. He finally starts putting it together, Chad. They trade him.
Back to back.
Victor Martinez, longtime catcher, wanted to spend his last days here playing in Cleveland. They trade him to Boston, of all things. So it's just like, how much more can like my era and eras after take? Because, just to put into this context, and I'll hand it back to you, pal, but think about this. 2016, I was, not to make you feel old, I was 18 years old. 18 turning 19. Okay, yeah. I was 18 turning 19. But think about that, Chad. That's the last time that the city's been in the World Series.
Yeah.
What happens if another 10 years go by? Another 10. And people don't remember that. We talk about how long it was for the World Series runs, and the 90s weren't that long ago. Yeah. But it did feel like a grip from 97 to 2016. If the Guardians can't get it together, I think they're taking Jose Ramirez for granted. And they're taking the fact that they've been able to coach up the farm system with the pitching prospects for granted. And they're not going for basically the finishing touch to bring it home. That's what frustrates me and a bunch of younger Guardians fans, in my opinion.
I get it, and you're perfect. I think that's you're entitled to feel that way. I mean, I completely understand that. Sometimes I watch, and I know I'm a Braves fan, and I've seen a couple of titles in my lifetime, and whatever. But I've watched the Braves go through these points too, where they would spend the money, right? They'd go out and they'd fill the hole in the lineup, right? You need a big right-handed bat, you go get Gary Sheffield, and all of a sudden the offense is an absolute terror, but you can't get past the Cubs or the Astros in the first round of the playoffs. And these things, like going out and getting that guy does not guarantee a World Series appearance in baseball. That's the wild thing about it. And I think that's what the Guardians front office hangs their hat on. It's like, well, look at all the teams like the Rays who don't spend a lot of money and are consistently, contending for, playoff spots and World Series and the division, the toughest division in baseball, maybe, by the way. We thought it was going to be the NL East, but the Mets plummeted. I don't know what they did. They just started to Met very early this year. That's okay.
Yes.
But at this point, if I've just to get back to the Jose Ramirez thing, if the Guardians were to trade Jose Ramirez, at that point, it would be a move solely for him to send him out and hopefully try to get him to a World Series. But again, you can't really guarantee that in baseball. All you've really got here with Ramirez, unfortunately, you have a little bit of an aging superstar, right? You got a guy who I mean, he can be the 3-hitter in your lineup. He's probably the best defender on the field. He can still steal bases at 33 years old. He was stealing bases before he got injured. We know that. He can run. But that's not going to hold up for very long, right? He's not going to be 36, 37 in 2029, 2030 and be putting up those numbers, the stolen base numbers and all that around, the all-around numbers like that. Right. Very friendly contract. I mean, obviously he's under contract through 2032 for $25 million a year. That's a bargain. That's more than a bargain for a guy like Jose Ramirez. But if they trade him, it's not going to bring back a ton in assets. It's just not.
It's not even to bring him back for assets. It's just doing right by him, and whether that's doing it right by him here and I understand, the discussion of well, the Guardians can hang their hat on. They don't trade a lot of times, and they still end up in the playoffs and make a deep run. I get that. But, Chad, and I know they struck out before, and I know the lockout impending. The best Guardians team that I can remember, the most talented, was when they went out and traded for Edwin Encarnacion. Or, sorry, they signed Edwin Encarnacion, big contract. I think it was $60 million. And they went out that same year and did, at the trade deadline, got Andrew Miller. They went out and added bats. They went out and got aggressive. I believe they also brought in Brandon Guyer, who I know is not – nobody's going to be like, dang, they brought Brandon Guyer in. But he was a guy who got on base. They were very savvy. They made moves. They were aggressive. And guess what? They were one inning away, really, a few innings away from winning the World Series. So, it's frustrating when that's 10 years ago, and that's the most aggressive they've been in my lifetime. They have never been that aggressive, and you see where it got them. So, I think that's where younger fans are kind of like, okay, we understand that the lockout's happening.
Yeah.
But you also got to understand what Jose, not you, the Guardians, the front office has to understand where they're at in terms of timetable. We talk about it all the time with the Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell, the timetable, or is it Evan Mobley? Well, the Cavaliers have showed us it's Donovan Mitchell's timetable. This is where we're going. The next 4 years are really going to be imperative to go win at least one, if not two championships. That's the goal. The Browns have showed their timetable. They moved off Myles Garrett. They're not in a win-now mode. They're going to tell you they want to win, but they're about building this team. The Guardians have to decide, are they putting all their eggs into the rookies and this young team and reshaping the timeline, or are they trying to win it with one of the greatest Cleveland baseball players to ever suit up here in the city? That's the question they got to answer.
Yeah, it's a big question. It's not an easy question to answer. It's going to be a tough one. I mean, the like you said, the development maybe second to none in baseball. What they do with young pitching and not even just guys that they draft and guys that they go out and fight. It's the guys that they pluck from other organizations that looked like they were maybe stagnant. They were dead in the water, right, in Double-A. Right. And all of a sudden the Guardians get a hold of them, or the Indians, whoever, depending on which era. And all of a sudden these guys are great, fastball, slider, tunnel pitches kind of guys. And they go out and they can get people out.
Right.
Can they keep doing that? Can they keep finding – because it takes a special kind of guy. Listen, I've heard all kinds of stories of guys being in organizations that said, hey, look, here's your strength. We're pretty good at this, right? We've been doing this baseball thing for a long time. Yeah, you've been playing for a while and you know yourself, but we see your strength and the best way for you to contribute to this team is to be this type of player. And those players resist against that, whether it's changing positions or changing a pitching style or moving from a starter to the bullpen or whatever it is. Guys they resist because it's not comfortable, right? It's not what you've done. It's not what got you there per se. So you're not really willing to change because you know what you've built yourself as so far, whatever in your career. And plus, listen, it's hard, right? It's hard to go against your own tendencies. Sometimes it's not even a conscious decision. It's tough to go against what you've done your whole career. So you've got to find a special kind of player that's willing to scrap everything they've done to that point and become this type of pitcher, whatever it is, hitter, player, fielder, whatever the team is asking you to do differently. It takes a special kind of mentality to be able to do that. So you've got to find not only the right guy, but you've got to find the right guy with the right mentality. It's not easy.
I know, but
the Guardians have just got extremely lucky, Eli. Maybe.
I get it, but that's why. But here's the thing: is that's why that they're in the position they're in, the front office, to make those types of moves and figure it out, Chad. And we've been very patient as Cleveland fans, saying, "Okay, you guys have done the development. You're doing really good. We love watching the young guys. Well, the young guys always get traded or end up move somewhere else, or they walk away when they want more money. So you can't really keep selling us. You can't keep selling us on the young team." Because the young team eventually gets a little bit older, they want more money, we don't have it, and they go end up in a Yankee uniform or a Dodger uniform or wherever. Yeah. So it's frustrating. You have a guy who signed here twice.
Or even worse, Eli, in an obscure place, right? They'll go to, Pittsburgh or something, and all of a sudden they're a 310 hitter with 25 home runs or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in Pittsburgh, but you know what I mean.
I'm with you.
And it's just like, what? How could we not get that out of that guy here? Like, this is it's a nice little baseball town, but yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
And, we'll keep revisiting this, Chad. We're a little bit out of time here on this tonight, but we'll talk more about it.
For sure.
That's where I'm starting to get to, man. It's like, you got to respect the guys. You're going to see a level. I'll say this, my final point. You'll see a level of resentment towards the Guardians if they don't bring Jose at least close to the World Series. I'm telling you, that's not an overstatement, and I can explain more maybe tomorrow, but we're going to take a quick pause here. We're going to let you grab a drink, a caffeinated beverage, whatever you like. Grab your dinner. If you're eating your dinner, grab your dinner. Get it ready again during the break. Eat it. Rock and roll. Get dessert maybe. And Chad and I, we're going to get ready for Wayback Wednesday. Chad's going in the time machine. Hopefully this time he's good. We'll see when we all get back. We'll do Wayback Wednesday, put a bow.
Don't be shocked when I come back in here in black and white mode. You know what happens. I go back to the time where there was no color streaming, and I come back.
Yeah, I'll just act like everything's normal. Yeah,
I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be okay
always
here.
Even out, so.
I'll be all good. Here on Inside Edge Primetime, Chad B to my right, you're right, everybody's right. I'm Eli Moon right here. And this is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. We're back after this.
Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and, well, everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. That's fanatics.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Small business owners are superheroes, but nowadays running your business means doing so inside your shop and on social media. That's why you should make Omega Video Marketing your sidekick.
With a decade of content creation experience, I create dynamic, informative, and fun videos for your specific social needs that will increase brand awareness, get you more followers, and keep your social pages and websites current and fresh.
I offer flexible pricing and turn times and will work with you to understand your brand and your story. All of that comes from the heart. My award-winning expertise is just the cherry on top. So let's get connected. After all, your brand is the alpha and my expertise is the omega.
Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Inside Edge Network's very own Ryan Mosser and his wife Hallie. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. MosserMomentsPhotography.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan, goodness gracious. To my right, you're right, everybody's right. I'm Eli Moon. We're back in the saddle, on the saddle, saddle adjacent here on Inside Edge Primetime. Just look at you. Just look at you. No.
Feels completely really weird.
Yeah, dude, how do you explain it? Like, let me ask you this before we get into it. I know we're short on time. Let me ask you this. What happens if, like, Mrs. Bryan or, like, one of the kiddos walk by and see you like that?
I haven't really had to worry about that yet, so I'm just going to go for just plausible deniability. I don't know.
Okay.
It's not really plausible because I know about it, but I don't know. I'm just gonna hope it never comes up. I just never have to explain why I'm not in color. I don't know. Well, anyway.
All right, yeah, just get after it. Yeah, you
Doesn't
look
matter.
great, pal. Go ahead.
I appreciate you. I feel very like my three sons. Donna
You're like
Reed,
an
Dick
old
Van
school
Dyke
Disney
era.
movie, like the
Yeah,
Mickey
Mr.
Mouse.
Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, feeling pretty good.
Right.
It's Wednesday. That means it's time for Wayback Wednesday. Eli, we got to go to Wayback Wednesday. We got to get the 50s thing going on. Anyway,
Working on it. Got you.
anyway, well, okay. So there was a lot of stuff to choose from. I didn't know how to. It was actually nothing groundbreaking today. Nothing like nothing that centered around any formative days of our country or anything like that. Oh wait, there was this one thing. Back on this day in 1776, the very first public reading of the Declaration of Independence was given by Colonel John Nixon to an assemblage of citizens in Philadelphia, which is clearly signed that LeBron James is going to sign with the Sixers.
No, don't say that. Chill,
Right?
dude.
That was
All I know is
this is the LeBron Easter egg. He went back and made sure this happened.
That's a lot of reading, dude. That's a lot of reading, man. Like
That's
you
a
could have done like 7-Up, whatever, heads up 7-Up or something, like, calling the next reader, like, popcorn, that's what they called it. Popcorn, you could have been like, hey, I read the first 10 paragraphs, and now we'll go to Colonel so-and-so for, like, goodness gracious, give Mr. Nixon a break.
I know. It's a lot of reading. I hope he had water. There was probably a lot of going on that day, I would imagine. But yeah, 1776.
All right.
And just in case you haven't had enough of Philadelphia yet, Eli, let's fast forward a little bit to 1835.
Okay, all right.
The Liberty Bell cracks again in Philadelphia.
What?
They say likely while tolling for George Washington's birthday, creating the famous fracture that you see right there on the front that actually prevents it from ringing today. That's why we don't ring the Liberty Bell anymore, because if we did, it would just shatter and fall to pieces, and then LeBron would never sign in Philadelphia. So someone please ring the Liberty Bell if we want him back in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly one of the cooler artifacts or what monuments, whatever you want to call it here in America. Pretty epic. So a fun fact, I don't know if it's fun necessarily, but I've never been to Philadelphia.
Okay.
I've been to Pittsburgh. I covered a UFC event out there. Got to spend some time in Pittsburgh. Beautiful city. I know we don't root for the Steelers obviously here, but love Pittsburgh. Did not get to see Philadelphia yet, but Papa Moon on our layover one time, we went out to Disney and he caught a different flight. Came on and saw us, and he had a layover in Philadelphia, and he got to go venture off and see everything. And so Papa Moon's got that Philadelphia, knowledge. You may want to bring him on to see what his thoughts are, especially if LeBron signs there. Maybe we'll see what Papa Moon thinks. But yeah, pretty cool, Liberty Bell, huh?
Sounds good. Are we sending Papa Moon out to Philadelphia if LeBron?
Maybe if we send, that's what I was thinking. I just didn't develop the entire thought right there. But I just feel like if we send Papa Moon out there to like battle as the Cleveland representative.
Live
look, I've been to
InsideEdge Network. It's Papa Moon.
Yeah, like I've been to Philadelphia, and it's not, look, like, I could tell you Cleveland's better. If Papa Moon goes out there, he'll be like, look, love you, LeBron, and then we got him.
Yeah, that's it. Love you, LeBron. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. Well, listen, we talk about pitchers being soft a lot these days, right? They don't finish games anymore.
Yeah.
They don't throw 12 innings. They don't throw 194 pitches. They don't throw both games of a doubleheader. Well, then you got to start calling boxers soft, because in 1889, on this very day, on July 8th, 1889, Eli, the very last bare knuckle heavyweight bout was it took the last sanctioned bare knuckle bout. There's been a lot of bare knuckle bouts all over the country since then, but the last sanctioned one took place. There you see it. Jake Kilrain's trainer throws in the towel, right? John L. Sullivan wins the fight, because Kilrain just couldn't go anymore after the 75th round, Eli. What? I get it. It says 1 minute. Doesn't matter. 75 rounds. How long were these fights? This is like 2 hours between, you got you're between never. That's crazy. What is going on? 75 rounds.
75's a lot, dude.
How long was it scheduled for? I didn't look up to see how long. He threw in the towel after 75. Were they going for 80, 100?
No, maybe 100. Maybe 100.
Goodness, man.
That's, dude, 75 minutes to straight boxing. I'm bare knuckle boxing.
Bare knuckle boxing. Yeah.
God, poor. It's like one of those where you're like, yeah, you see me. Wait till you see the other guy. But that's what both of them are saying. Because goodness gracious.
Yeah, that's crazy. The last bare knuckle heavyweight bout in the country, the last sanctioned one, sponsored by CTE, apparently.
Just to put it in context, Chad, before we move on,
Yeah.
a normal UFC championship bout right now is 5, if it goes the distance, it's 5-minute rounds. That's 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's a little different than 75 minutes of fighting.
Yeah.
It's just different.
They did 3 championship full bouts.
Yeah.
Honestly, kill reign unacceptable. Get back up.
Yeah, bro. At least go 80. Like soft. Come on, man. Soft.
Soft.
Well, whatever. We're gonna stay in the 1800s.
Okay.
As my kids like to say, what was life like in the 1900s? And I go, shut up. No, I don't tell them shut up. But 1898 on this date. Okay, July 8th, 1898. Eli, this is a fun one. The shooting death of crime boss. So, well, it's not fun, but you'll see why. The shooting death of crime boss Soapy Smith releases Skagway, Alaska from his iron grip. And Eli, before this day in 1898, Mr. Smith had always made a clean getaway.
Yeah, down with Soapy. Down with him. You know what? It's time for a new. Chad, you throw some of these wild. This is why we don't send you back in the time machine more than once a week, because this is some of the stuff. Soapy Smith?
Hey.
Skagway, Alaska? All right, on to the next one, bud.
On to the next one. On this day in 1947, Eli.
Okay.
Look at this. Reports are broadcast that a UFO has crash landed in Roswell, New Mexico. And somehow I can't help but think that this is how we got Corbin from Love Island today. I think that this is the origin. This is Corbin's origin story. He probably thought that UFO crash was pretty neat. Pretty neat. It was very neat.
His grandpa or something. Yeah, maybe. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And, you can ask Autumn because, we're not going to bring Autumn on. Autumn at the top of the hour, so we are up against it here. I got to ask you this one.
Go ahead.
Do you believe in aliens?
I mean, space is huge. There's got to be something out there, right?
Okay. All right. I just want you to ask. You're going to ask Autumn because I'm going to disappear at 11 o'clock. You're going to ask her. Okay.
Okay. Right, well, good luck disappearing. Good luck. I hope you become visible again. We got to bust through this. On this day in 1990, this is a cool one. This only lasted for 1 second, Eli. This was relevant for 1 second in 1990 on this day.
Oh, my God.
On 1990, it was 12:34:56 on 7/8/90. Giving you the run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. A once-in-a-lifetime moment back in 1990.
Amazing. Well,
right.
Just look at time.
We're
running out of.
Yeah, we're running out of it fast. It's going really fast. In 1996, the Spice Girls released the British girl group, the Spice Girls, released their debut single, Wannabe, in the UK.
Okay, that's a banger. That's a certified banger.
If you want to be my lover, don't ask me for gas money. I think that was one of the lyrics of that song. I think that's how that. I'm not sure.
And don't be a married pastor. Yeah.
Yes, don't do that. Nope, don't do that.
Yep.
Don't do that. I think Autumn's got the volume down on her end.
She don't want to hear us more than she has to.
No, she's not acknowledging that. In 1999, on this date, look at this. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the third book in the series by J.K. Rowling, was published in the UK. Not to fear, she wasn't done. 1 year later, on the same day, the fourth book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, was published in the UK and the US by Scholastic there. Bloomsbury in the UK, Scholastic in the US.
That's dope.
And
that's cool.
That's all I've got for you today.
That's pretty cool, man. I'm not gonna lie. Prisoner of Azkaban's where I stopped watching the movies. I still love Harry Potter. I should go back and revisit them.
Yeah, my daughter loves them, man. She's read the books a couple of times. She loves them, man. She absolutely loves them. So I'm gonna bring us back here, but
bring us back.
Hey,
yeah, man. Hey, welcome back. You look great. You look great.
You always come back, man. I always bounce back.
But fine. You know what?
Oh,
Rents do. Rents do.
Well,
we don't got it. We don't have it. But you know what? Yes. Smart. Okay, Fashion Chad. You're Fashion Chad tonight. Okay, all right. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to disappear. I'll be back at midnight with the people here from Midnight Run, filling in for Double A Anthony Alford. You're going to stay there, and then you at home, right there, over there, all across the masses of the world. Stay there. Autumn Chisholm coming up at the top of the hour. We're going to have station identification, and then your favorite, The Daily Spiral, with Autumn and Chad. I'll see you guys at midnight. Yeah, that's all I got for you.
Oh, hi, Chad.
Hi, Autumn. How are you?
I've had a night. My dog is trying to kill himself, literally trying to kill himself. He somehow, some way got into those little Hostess mini muffins, and they were chocolate chip flavored.
Oh no, that's not good.
So now I'm like, my mom has to monitor him. I have to monitor him, make sure he at least throws it up or poops it out. Oh, I look bald. It's not a good night. But
You look great. You look great. You don't worry. You look great. Maybe the dog, you got to worry about that, but you look great. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, the vet is like, you probably should bring him in. I'm like, please, no, I don't have $300 to pay you, ma'am.
I know.
Welcome to the Daily Spiral, everyone. This is literally my life. Now, today, I'm trying to figure out what should I start. You know what? I'm not going to start with your quiz, Chad. I'm really not. I'm going to spare you. I'm going to spare you.
Whew.
I'm going to spare you until the end of the show.
That's
until the end of the show.
That's unfortunate.
But I'm actually going to start with not my lore drop, because we have a new segment coming up called Lore Drop.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into some stuff later. But let's get into the first topic that I think we should get out the way because I'm sick of hearing about them. It's been days since they lost. It has been literally 2 days since they lost.
Yeah.
And that is the United States men's national team. United States men's national team on July 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Not January 6th. That's crazy.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. On July 6th, this Monday, lost to Belgium in Seattle in the round of 16, effectively knocking them out. And since then, we have had this discourse about the U.S. men's national team and why, number one, no one had any sort of expectation for them, even though we have a women's U.S. national team, and the expectation every year is to win some sort of championship.
Yeah.
We've had the conversation about Balogun and if the red card thing and all that whole thing. We've had conversations about Greg Berhalter and his role in the team. But I think we do need to have a conversation about Christian Pulisic.
Okay.
He is 27 years old.
Yeah.
He is considered the greatest American soccer star of his generation. Male, not female, male.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I would put at least 10 women ahead of him.
Yeah. That's fair.
He has been out this entire World Cup. He played last game, but he was fragile. He was writhing on the ground. He said he tweaked his ankle. He has sat out game after game, tournament after tournament. He hasn't shown up. So what do we do about him now?
Well, I think, right now, I think time's going to handle that. It'll be 31 the next time the World Cup rolls around. It's not really, I don't think it's that typical to see too many people in their, we'll say low to mid 30s. I like to keep it weather friendly for our good friend Matt Wentz. But I don't think you see a lot of people in their 30s in the World Cup, unfortunately. It just is what it is. I'm not being ageist. I'm almost 50. You're not going to see me on any soccer field, not on purpose anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that, well, they say the best ability, Autumn, is availability, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not available and you can't be out there on the field, then I'm not sure what the point of holding a roster spot is. All due respect, I just don't know.
No, I fully agree. He's 27 years old. He's considered the best U.S. men's national team player we've ever had. He's wildly inconsistent. I know he plays overseas, and I just think that this men's national team, and if you can hear my dog barking in the background, he's arguing with my mom. This happens every night.
He's like, give me those mini muffins. I want more of those mini muffins.
I don't even want to talk about that. It literally made my stomach hurt. I was like, oh my God. I was about to cry. But then I called my uncle. My uncle was like, it's mainly bread. It's not enough chocolate to kill him. And I'm like, it's still chocolate. And I'm like, he's like, just let him.
I hope your dog's okay. I really hope your dog's okay.
He's fine. He's barking right now like a crazy person. I think he's gonna poop it out in the morning or in the middle of the night. And like he's that kind of dog. But to my point about this team and Christian Pulisic, I'm so bored of them. Like they had all the momentum in the world.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna just tell you right now, I never thought they were gonna win. I really didn't. I really did. I thought they would get close. I just never thought they would win. There was too many teams ahead of them that were so much better. And of course, we've seen how much better those teams are. Unfortunately, Argentina is a better team. Egypt was a better team. Belgium is a better team.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it. England is a better team. We all know France is way better than them.
Yeah.
Even Norway is better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And I saw some people being like, the US really has a chance. The US really has a chance. What have they shown you over the last, I don't know, 10 years to show you that they have a chance? They don't have a good men's national team program. They have the last time they won any sort of championship was the Gold Cup, and that was years ago. What is it? Was it the Copa Americas? They lost in the Copa Americas. They lost in the Olympics. Like any sort of major tournament that comes up, they lose like significantly. And I'm like, what made y'all think this was going to be the time? But because it was in America, that doesn't really mean anything. Just because it's in America didn't mean that it was going to be like anything major.
Yeah.
So when I look at this team, I'm disappointed because we see the women's team and we see that they have built a juggernaut.
Yeah.
They built a juggernaut to where it's in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yep.
And it's a consistent program. And I'm just trying to think, what can the men's national team do to actually fix what is wrong in their program?
Yeah, why? I wonder what the reason is for the disconnect between the men's and women's program. I've seen a lot of things about, and we've talked about it here on the show. Whether it's Eli and myself having the conversation, we've had Ben Bales on to talk about the World Cup, and it's just unfortunately, club soccer, travel soccer for youths, I should say, is very, very expensive. And I think we price out some of our best athletes. I think that a lot of our very best athletes in the country don't have a chance of playing travel baseball, club soccer, travel soccer. The easiest sport to get into is honestly, it's to get on a basketball court. You can take a ball anywhere and find a park with a court almost anywhere around you, right? And you can go to a gym, whatever. You can go somewhere and play. And it doesn't cost a ton of money. I mean, yeah, you can get into the AAU stuff, but I still think AAU basketball comparatively is a lot less expensive than travel baseball. And even like, well, hockey's ridiculous, right? So there's a reason we don't have, and again, we did win, obviously, that, the Olympics happened, but
that was a fluke. I don't understand how that happened. I really don't get how that happened. That was a fluke right there.
We'll take it. But yeah, the strength and the depth in the program is not the same. These European teams, some of the teams at France, Egypt, Belgium, even some of these teams have so much depth in those programs that you see guys come off the bench that are probably better than most of Team US's starters. And that's not even a shot at Team USA. It's just the soccer is just the football. They'd be mad at me if I called it soccer, but it's a better quality. You just get a better, again, more depth, and just more dominant athletes are gravitating towards soccer, toward football. In those countries, we don't have that in this country. We price athletes out so early that they just quite literally can't afford to get into the sport.
Yeah, because what is it? I know football isn't like super expensive to get into. I went to a sports school, unfortunately, where you had to pay to play.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like nobody really paid to play.
Yeah.
Our basketball team was constantly sponsored by like Nike and LeBron and everything.
Yeah.
And our baseball team was not very good, and they got terrible equipment. Our softball team wasn't very good, didn't have good equipment. Any program when I was going to school besides football or basketball, they didn't care, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the problem with U.S. men's national team, is that nobody is there to care. Like from the top down. With the U.S. women's national team, they lost in the gold. They lost the gold medal. They literally had to play for the bronze, and they immediately went out and got the best head coach they could possibly get.
Yeah.
They came in third one time. They lost the last World Cup and they went out and got the best head coach they could find and completely revamped their team and came all the way back and won a gold medal. And they are probably the favorites to win the World Cup next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, when I look at this, the way it's built, I'm just like, we know that the women's program was actually built over years and years and years of Title IX and putting energy into this program. I'm like, why can't we do it on the men's side? I'm like, America is literally obsessed with sports. It's literally obsessed with sports. Yeah. And the one sport where we could really excel at, where we could really, really do some damage, we refuse to do it in this country.
Yeah, and I also feel like there's a little bit of an ego about soccer sometimes in this country. Well, it's not even a real sport. It's, it's football, it's basketball, baseball, and hockey. That's we don't care about soccer. But then something comes up like the World Cup, and let Team US lose to Belgium 4-1, and then suddenly everybody cares, and now they're the laughing stock and whatever. And I never really, like you said, I just didn't envision the US men's team as one of the teams that had a chance to go that far in this World Cup. I'm a casual soccer fan. I see the world rankings. I see that they're 15th, 20th in the world or whatever. And to me, that does not signify a team that's going to go on a run and get to the Final Four or get to the championship and have a chance to win it. So to me, getting to the point where they played Belgium, I thought that was maybe that was a little bit of a pleasant surprise. It stinks that they went down 4-1. It's kind of like losing like 52-3 in football, but I didn't expect much, and I don't mean to. I'm not throwing shade at the team or the program or the whatever. My expectations were lowered, and they played some really good soccer, and then they lost to a better team, and I just don't know. I guess the embarrassing part is you should have a better youth program that feeds into the national team, and it should be better, maybe organized a little better, and just it should be more inclusive at the bottom, for the younger kids. But I don't know that the result in this World Cup was necessarily that embarrassing for Team US.
No, it really wasn't. I've seen so many people be like, the US should be embarrassed. I'm like, y'all, half the people watching the World Cup didn't even know that we had a team.
Right.
Didn't even know we had a team.
Right.
Then when they found out we had a team, they latched on to a player because a girl in the TikTok comments was like, yeah, my little brother's on the team. And it became the team that has Diamond's little brother on it. Literally, like the team literally wasn't taken seriously by their own country. And because they got out of the round of 32, everybody was like, oh my God, they're going to make a run. I'm like, you guys have to realize they would have to go through Belgium, Norway, Argentina, England, Mexico, Spain, all these other teams that I'm like have really, really good national team programs that really invest in soccer, that really, really, really do a good job of like creating national pride. And look, I don't even like Argentina, but you can't knock them and say that they have a bad soccer program. No, they literally have the best soccer player on the face of planet Earth.
Yep.
And he's pushing 40?
Yeah.
Still playing the best soccer of his life?
Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, that's honestly all I really want to talk about with the men's national team. I'm done with them. We're done with the World Cup. The World Cup ends, I think, next week. Yeah, next Sunday. And we have it's gonna be big. It's gonna be huge. They have a whole halftime show and everything. They have, I think it's Shakira, BTS, Madonna, and then Justin Bieber, which just announced. So that's the World Cup. When we come back from break, I will drop some lore of my life. I know I've been telling embarrassing dating stories. I had them pick which one they wanted to hear today.
There was a vote.
There was a vote. You will hear the results of that vote right after the break. You guys are watching the Spiral here on the Daily Spiral here on InsideEdge Network.
Key On Sports is the leader in Ohio high school athletic coverage in written, print, and video streaming. From the latest news and results and written content to the high school football game of the week every Friday, Key On Sports has you covered. The vision of 15-time published author Vince McKee has become the most trusted site in Ohio high school athletic news. From podcasts to player profiles, Key On Sports is your one stop for all of it. Visit them today at keyonsports.com or on YouTube at Key On Sports. Check out their socials on Twitter and Facebook as well.
Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. With over 15 flavors to choose from, you can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code InsideEdge10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Discover our collection of body mists made with clean, minimal ingredients. Handcrafted with natural essential oils and clean ingredients, they offer a natural alternative to synthetic fragrances. Perfect for sensitive skin and those seeking clean, mindful self-care, and the perfect gift for you or your special someone. Courtesy of Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers, use that promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Whether searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at SportsMemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and players. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the SportsMemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Go to SportsMemorabilia.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. SportsMemorabilia.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Find us on InsideEdgeNetwork.com for the latest information on your favorite shows, personalities, and network partners. Plus, guess what? We have a merch shop. That's right, we have network polos, t-shirts, champion jackets, hats, and bottles. Rep the network. Every purchase supports independent sports and entertainment media. Use the QR code on your screen right now to check out InsideEdgeNetwork.com. That's InsideEdgeNetwork.com.
All right, welcome back to the Daily Spiral, everyone. It's time for a lore lock. Now, what is this? Now, I told you guys I've been telling embarrassing dating stories. I told you behind the scenes of how I got on the news and the story that essentially led me there to the most famous clip that everybody says. Well, why did you give him gas money? I've talked about the married pastor. I've spelled a word that I was not supposed to spell on air, that Eli got so flustered at that he had to do 2 ad reads because it was so bad. But
Handcrafted candles, that's right. Sorry.
I had everyone choose today from a list of stories. They chose 2 different ones, right? Chad, which one would you like first?
Oh boy. You know what? This is impossible to pick. Let me see. Hold on. What were the 2 titles? Give me the 2 choices again. I don't have them right in front of me. I know the one. That's probably the one I'm going to pick.
The first one was, I'm sorry for saying this, guys, but it was shit on my face.
Sorry, I had to.
The other one, I usually call it the cop, but it was me explaining basketball. Which one would you like?
Okay, well, I think we have to start with we got to start with shit on my face. I think that's where you start, right?
Yes, that is where you start.
That's where you start.
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying this. I never did that act. Okay? I never did the act of what is this story is named after, okay?
All right.
I just use it as a reference because it's a short story. It actually is a very short story.
Okay. All right.
So I was young. I was 22. Just turned 22, not too much longer before this.
Okay.
Was going through a bit of a heartbreak. I kept getting these guys that said that they liked me, but then would ghost me. I had a really, really bad ghosting to where I almost traveled a couple hours to see a man who told me, nah, literally a 3-letter word, nah,
No.
and wasted my money on him. But there was a day,
Happens.
I will never forget this day. I decided to get on Bumble. Now, Bumble at the time was the anti-Tinder.
Okay.
I'm gonna just say this. It was all female controlled.
Okay.
As in, like, the women had to talk to the men. So you wouldn't talk to any man on there unless they got a message from the girl first.
Okay.
Which put the girl in control of the interactions. Instead of a guy sending you an unnecessary photo, sending you an unnecessary message, the only way he can message is if you message first, right?
Okay.
So one day I was coming back home from college. It was, what was it, spring? Yeah, it was spring semester. I was driving home from college and I'm just swiping on Bumble. Swiping. I just, at one point, I just was like, you know, I'm gonna just keep swiping right until I hit something, right? So I had a whole bunch of boys. And I was like, this one's cute. This one's cute. This one's cute. Ironically enough, it's the same. I met this guy who sent me this message the same day as the guy that I told the first story about.
Okay.
Yep.
Wait, what year was this? I'm sorry. You said
This was 2017.
Okay. All right. Okay. Got it.
So about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I message everybody the same thing. And it used to be this gif of Rihanna from one of her videos. And she was just waving at people. So,
Okay.
so that's what I messaged first.
All right.
And we're just talking back and forth, normal. And then he asked for my Snapchat. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'll give you my Snapchat. All right. I have nothing to hide.
All right.
This is where it all goes downhill. So I'm in the movie theater. I'm watching Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2. I look down and I see this message. I'm like, what's going on? I click on it. I promise you, the words that he spoke, I said, you serious? All the message said was shit on my face. I said, huh? He said, you heard what I said. Shit on my face. I said, are you asking me this? Asking me to do this? Like, what's going? He was like, yeah.
Okay. I was hoping maybe there was like like he sent you a selfie and was like, do I have any like shit on my face?
No.
All right. Okay.
He said shit on my face, and I'm just so caught off guard. And I'm like, why would you want to do this? He was like, I've always wanted to do this. I'm like, so you want me to shit on your face? He said yes. I never talked to him after that day. I literally never talked to him again after that.
Yeah, I think that's, and I said like sometimes you're swiping on these apps, right? I don't know. I haven't dealt with dating apps. I've been married for so long. I think some of these guys maybe need to worry about wiping from like the bottom to the top. That's crazy. I listen. So it went from like, hey, what's your name? Send me your Snapchat, whatever. What do you like to do? Long walk.
Didn't even get to what do you like to do. It was
Didn't even do
literally
just shit on my face.
shit on my face.
Wow. Okay. Well, listen. The good thing about this, there's one good thing. He was up front.
Mhm.
Well, I guess he was out back, but whatever. Doesn't matter. He's up front and he's honest about what he wants, and he's not afraid to say it. And sometimes guys will beat around the bush. I'm trying to use my words carefully. Sometimes they just won't say what they want, right? At least he was not afraid to say what he wanted. Autumn is that like that's somewhat redeeming? No.
No, he
No,
asked
no,
me
no.
to shit on him.
Yeah,
That was the end of the conversation there. The fact that he even asked me and thought that was a possibility was crazy. Now, the second story, second
How
Lord
many times
job,
do you think that worked for him?
none. There's no way that a girl was like, you know what, I'm going to shit on your face. No, it was just so abrupt too. I always think about it. It was so abrupt. It was just shit on my face, and I'm like, what is going
With
on?
a question mark? Like shit on my face?
No,
No,
just
okay.
shit on my face.
Okay. All
I
right.
used to have the messages. I don't know where I put them. I don't know if I deleted them or sent them to one of my friends, but I used to have them. So second lore drop.
All right.
All right. Now I call this story usually the cop
Okay.
because this man was a cop.
Okay.
I want y'all to understand this. This was at a desperate time in my life. I was willing to do anything for the attention of a man. I was very male centered. Just judge me off of that.
Yeah, not that.
So I was, of course, again, it's always Bumble. It always comes back to Bumble. I was on Bumble. I saw this guy. I thought he was like moderately attractive. I'm like, okay, you're kind of cute. We start talking back and forth, and he invites me over his house. At this time, this is about, what is the year that Virginia won the national championship in basketball?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to look it up. You're gonna make me look at it. Hold on 1 second here.
Because I'm gonna just let you know that's the night that this happened.
Okay.
It was the night of that Final Four game. So I'm talking to him, and this was at my hookup time. I had very interesting phases in my dating life. I had like I want to latch on to you, I want to be in a relationship, and then I had my hookup phase, and then I had my I don't really care.
Okay. So this is 2019, by the way. This was April 2019. Okay.
Yes, this is literally April 2019. So me and him are talking. I'm like, and he's like, okay, you can come over. You can actually stay the night. I was like, oh, sure. Again, I had zero regard for anything. My personal safety, nothing. So I go over this man's house. Now, before I go over this man's house, I had strict rules.
Okay.
You had to have a bed.
It's fair.
You had to have a headboard.
Okay.
You had to have a mattress. And you had to have a box spring.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
And you had to have at least a duvet cover with multiple pillows.
Reasonable.
Right?
Reasonable. Yeah.
So I'm thinking he's a grown adult man. He's in his 30s. I'm still in my 20s. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to go over this man's house. He's like, okay, I got to tell you something before you come over. I'm like, okay, what is it? He goes, I don't have a box spring. I just have a mattress. Should have been my biggest red flag right there.
Okay.
Should have been my biggest, but I didn't. I digress, right?
All right.
So I'm like, okay. He was like, but this is not gonna make you judge me. I'm like, no, like whatever. So I go over his house. I still end up going over his house.
All right.
I get to his house. We hook up right away. And then right after, I'm like, oh, okay, I just need to use the bathroom. I need to freshen up because I plan to be over this man's house all night long.
Right.
I go into his bathroom. I instantly look down and it's just hair.
Oh, no.
He had shaved in his bathroom sink and just didn't clean it up.
Oh, man.
I said, okay, this is interesting. So then I use the bathroom and I get up and like it gets a little graphic right here. So you know how in your toilet, if you leave stains in, it's just really, really hard to get the stains out.
Yeah.
So I look down and I'm like, oh, he needs to just like he got some stains. I'm gonna flush the toilet. There were permanent shit stains in his toilet.
Oh no.
And at this moment, I said, oh, I need to get out of here. I said, this is going to go so awful.
Did he have a bathroom window?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So
you could make the escape out the window or something.
Couldn't escape.
All
I ended up having to text someone later on to be like, you need to come get me. I'm panicking. But he was like, okay, I'm hungry. There's this bar I go to that's right across the street from my house. And I go, what do you mean there's a bar across the street from his house? So it was like a local bar.
Okay.
Right? Like a local, like you gonna walk up the street to it.
Okay.
He makes me walk out of his home and walk to this bar with him because he's so hungry. Now I only know that the NCAA game is happening because this is where we get into it. So we're at this bar. I'm not hungry. I'm already irritated. I'm like, this man has permanent shit stains in his toilet. His bathroom is disgusting. He's starting to annoy me, right? I'm starting to get annoyed.
Oh man.
he's asking me all these questions about where I work, what I do for work. And at the time, I was covering high school basketball.
Okay.
I was also working for the Cavs.
Yeah.
So I had seen a shit ton of basketball at this point, right?
All right.
And I know what was quality basketball and what was not quality basketball. I
Fair.
knew what the hell a high school basketball game looked like and what the hell a professional one looked like. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So we're sitting there, we're talking, the game is on, we're talking. And he just goes, yeah, a high school game is like 3 hours long, right? I go, no, it's not. I'm like, at the most, it's an hour.
Yeah.
He goes, no, it's not. It's 3 hours long. I said, no, it's not. It's an hour. And he goes, I don't believe you. I'm like, I literally cover basketball for a living and I work for a basketball team. What are you talking about? He proceeds to go back and forth with me to the point where I get so annoyed where I was like, look it up.
School,
I
right?
literally said, Google it right now.
Yeah.
Google it. He Googles it and he goes, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was that serious. I said, yeah, it is that serious. I said, you're like, when I tell you, Chad, at this moment, I was like, oh my God, I need to get out. So I'm texting my friend. I was like, please come get me. And he was like, gotta be Captain Save-A-Ho. I was like, I don't even care right now. Come get me. Right?
Right.
So we walk back across the street to his apartment. We're sitting on his couch and he's just getting weirder and weirder. And I'm just like, please, I'm texting my friend. I'm like, please, are you almost here? Are you on your way? And I turned to the guy. I was like, look, I gotta go. I was like, I thought I was gonna be able to stay over. I can't. He was like, you sure? Chad, this is the part of the story where I'm like, oh my God, let me get away from this man. I need to get away from this man. As my friend pulls up, because his apartment was also right outside of, like, it was his apartment and there was a door.
Okay.
I see my friend pull up and I'm just like, yeah, I gotta go. And he gets up and is like, you gonna help me take care of this? And I looked down, I'm like, take care of what? It was his erection.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, get me out of here. I said, no, I'm good. I said, you know what? I said, I'll text you later. I've never walked faster out of a man's apartment, blocked him. And then my friend and I went to another place. And he was like, you got to stop getting yourself into these situations. I'm like, bro, I know. He was like, you got to stop.
Yeah.
Like, you got to stop. I'm like, I know. And the only reason why I knew what night it was is because the bar we went to had I think it was the first overtime of that game going on.
It did go into overtime. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God. And I ended up going home and my mom was just like, she was like, are you okay? She was like, I thought you were supposed to stay out. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. It was really bad. It was really, really bad.
Whew.
I literally had sex with a man with shit stains in his toilet. Permanent shit stains in his toilet.
No. Was the food that good from the bar? Like, how did he end up?
No, it was terrible food.
I'm trying to, like, how did he end up in that situation again? Like, where he was like, can you help me take care? Like, I thought you were going to say it was like a half a sandwich, the rest of some fries. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it to go, wrap it up, and I'm out of here. Like, whatever, no problem. But yeah, you can't. That's not a thing. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Now, it gets even funnier because I blocked him. So he couldn't contact. No, it was the next day.
Okay.
The next day I blocked him. I'm sorry. I apologize, guys. My brain doesn't work sometimes. So the next day, he's texting me and he's like, are you going to come back over? And I'm like, no, I'm not coming back over. I'm like, you kind of lied to me. Because it wasn't just that he didn't have a mattress in box spring. He didn't have a bed.
Oh.
He didn't have a bed at all. So
what was he rocking with? Like a futon? Or
he was sleeping on his couch. He had a very big couch.
All right.
Okay. He didn't even have a bed. And so I essentially confronted him, like, you lied to me. You did all this stuff. I said, I don't think we should speak anymore. Yeah. And he just got really weird. So I blocked him. Right. And then about a year later, on Bumble, he popped up again. And I had to block him off of Bumble.
No. Are there on Bumble? I don't know. I'm probably going to show my ignorance, but are there like usernames? Do you have usernames?
No, it's your first name.
It's your first name. Okay, I thought
Mhm.
like this guy was like shit stains 216 or something. Like you never know. All right, okay.
No, it's just your first name. So Bumble is like your first name, your age, and then you'll pick a bunch of pictures.
Okay, gotcha.
And then you can verify it like legally, whatever. But it was just like I was like, this is terrible. And this was at a string of, when I say it was a terrible string of bad dates. And this was the one that I was like, I literally had to say, I gotta stop.
Yeah, maybe part of Bumble should be you have to like prove what you have to verify your sleeping arrangements, right? You got to show that, and then you have to take a picture of the inside of the toilet. You got to know what the inside of the toilet looks like. You have to know there's no shit stains in there. I think that's
It
important.
was permanent shit stains. So when I flushed the toilet,
That's for me at that bar across the street all the time, Autumn. That's what happened. You realize that.
It was just so bad. But yeah, that's my lore drop of the night.
Oof.
Now, you guys that are watching, and of course my beautiful co-hosts, I'm gonna do another lore drop. Which one would you like tomorrow? Would you like the one I call Whiskey Dick, Mac Miller, or the drug dealer?
Okay, do we get two?
Yes, you get two.
Okay. So now, I'm curious about whiskey part. I'm curious about that, but I'm gonna go Mac Miller and drug dealer.
Okay. Eli, do you want to do the same? Okay.
You guys like whatever gets me. I don't want to be on the screen. Just yes.
I know Double A is going to listen to this too, so he has to vote. It's Whiskey Dick, Mac Miller, drug dealer. One of the three.
All right.
One of the three, or two of the three.
All right. Fair enough.
When we come back from the break, I'm going to quiz Chad on his favorite subject. Love Island USA. It's no new episode tonight. No new episode. There's technically only 4 episodes left, 3 regular episodes, 1 After Sun. But when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about Love Island USA, what we expect of tomorrow's episode going forward. And also, I'm going to give Chad a little quiz. But you guys are watching us spiral here on the Daily Spiral here on Inside Edge Network.
Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and, well, everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. That's fanatics.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Small business owners are superheroes, but nowadays running your business means doing so inside your shop and on social media. That's why you should make Omega Video Marketing your sidekick.
With a decade of content creation experience, I create dynamic, informative, and fun videos for your specific social needs that will increase brand awareness, get you more followers, and keep your social pages and websites current and fresh.
I offer flexible pricing and turn times and will work with you to understand your brand and your story. All of that comes from the heart. My award-winning expertise is just the cherry on top. So let's get connected. After all, your brand is the alpha and my expertise is the omega.
Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Inside Edge Network's very own Ryan Mosser and his wife Hallie. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic telling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at monstermomentsphotography.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. monstermomentsphotography.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
All right, welcome back, everyone. About 20 minutes left in the show, not even really. But we're going to talk about our favorite subject. There's no new episode of Love Island tonight. Like I said, it's 4 episodes left. Technically, we have tomorrow, which is Family Day. We have Friday, which is the day we find out who is in the finale. We have Saturday, in which we're going to have After Sun. And then Sunday is the big finale where we find out who is the winner of Love Island Season 8. Now, we do have some cast tea, some cast drama going on right now. Corbin is back in Miami.
Uh-oh.
Our favorite robot back in Miami. And he is already on one. He has followed multiple girls on Instagram.
Oh, my.
And has been Snapchatting a ton of girls. Any girl essentially that has sent him a Snapchat since he was on the show, he has responded. And these girls are posting them on TikTok. So we have that. We have Amora shading Melanie once again, and somehow in putting Sinister in her Love Island photo dump, which crazy. There was a post. I'm gonna read it. I think I found it. I found it somewhere. It was a post about KC and TT.
Okay.
And essentially, it was calling out the hypocrisy that they are already coupled up because it's been literally a week since they coupled up. And saying that for a girl who says that she's never had a boyfriend, she has 2 restraining orders because she attacked 2 different women over 2 different guys who she claimed to be her boyfriend. And that post was liked by Sydney, one of the other Casa girls.
Whoa. All right. Okay.
And I'm gonna end this last bit of tea on a funny note. Jen and Gall, if you guys don't know Gall, a man who ran around and said it's Gall's big night, and then proceeded to get dumped the same night after he dumped the girl who brought him into the villa. He posted on TikTok. He was like, he keeps getting messages that he thinks are important, but it's just Jen sending him her favorite hate comments about him.
Oh my God.
And one of them was a girl saying that she paid an Epsi witch to put bad juju on him.
Okay. All right.
Look, he's been a bit of a sport. He's gone with it. He's gone with the fact that people are made fun of him. His own family was literally making fun of him. His home family literally said, "We started a page and like the way you treated Jed was terrible," right?
And he's insufferable, Autumn. Like he was awful, man.
He was terrible. He really was. And look, I'm gonna just say this. I told y'all, ugly men have the weirdest confidence, all right? The uglier the men, the higher the confidence. But they will also punish you because they're ugly. And that's what Gall did. Gall punished Jen because he's ugly, okay? And I looked at his face, and I'm like, even if he got rid of the stupid mustache, he would still be ugly.
That mustache isn't doing anything for anybody. I'll give you that. You're right.
So yes, that's the cast tea. Again, we are 4 days away from
That's crazy.
finale, which Double A and I will live react to the finale here 8:30 on Sunday on Inside Edge Network.
Looking forward to that.
It's gonna be interesting. Now, last night's vote. Chad, did you vote?
I did not. I missed it. I was so far behind on episodes, and I tried to look this. I was like, can I still vote this morning? And no, I could not. Sadly, it still says thanks for registering. And I don't know that that's ever changed. That page has never changed in my app. So maybe they don't trust me with a vote yet.
Let me explain the vote that happened last night. So
Okay.
Love Island producers released a post that was like, hey, pay attention to the vote tonight, because if you pay attention, it's what people have been calling for. Now, everybody thought this was going to be the vote to be either least compatible or dumped from the island. That's usually what it is. Usually at this time is who gets dumped from the island. You vote to see who gets dumped, right? The vote tonight, last night, was the top 4 couples you want to see in the finale.
Okay.
And it was a very overwhelming support for, of course, the core 4, the 4 girls. Now, I've seen some people vote. I saw at least 2 people vote Kenzie in, which I don't understand how that happened. Kenzie and Dylan are not.
Did she make up somehow with the karaoke thing? I know that they kind of killed it on the karaoke thing, Kenzie and Dylan, right?
Dylan became the most insecure child I've ever seen in my life. He had the same conversation with her 3 different times in one night.
Oh my. Okay. All right.
So I think the number 4 spot is really down to 2 people.
Okay.
2 of my other enemies. Zach and Kata, who became exclusive. Not a situationship, though. Not a situationship.
Well, but only until they leave, though, right? They're not a true couple.
They said, and I quote, we're exclusive. So that means they're not dating anyone else.
Okay.
They're dating each other, but they're not boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because Zach was afraid to call her his girlfriend.
Okay.
He said, and I quote, we're moving a little too fast, even though they've been together literally since day 3.
Yeah. Okay. She's one of the girls, honestly, of a lot of the girls, she's the one that probably makes a lot of sense to me. She, like, I don't know. I feel like she's the most genuine. Well, one of the most genuine girls. I feel like this is on Zach, right? I mean, she's a decent girl. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Zach is terrible.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Zach. So
no, I think Zach is awful. I think Zach. I'm gonna tell you the greatest example of Zach is just a messy bitch.
Fair.
That's what he is. He's just a messy bitch.
He's got half a beard in his sink and shit stains in his toilet, right?
No. So he's the kind of I say this. He's the kind of guy friend where, like, if I had a guy friend like him, I would just argue with him all the time, right?
Okay.
And everybody would be like, "Oh my god, you guys should date," and it'd be like, "No, I actually want to hit him. I literally."
I'm not arguing because there's tension between.
No,
I actually just want to argue with it. Right?
Yeah, it's like genuinely he pisses me off. Like that's the kind of like, and then like when he starts dating someone and they're like, "Oh, you guys argue like brother and sister," and it's like, no, I genuinely don't like him. And then people will ask you, "Well, why are you friends?" And you're like, "I'm friends with him because he's friends with other people I know." That's the only reason why we're friends, right? Yeah. But he's one of those people that just constantly antagonizes people, and you're like, "Why are you in this friend group?" Last night alone, they were talking to him, like he helped Casey with his whole girlfriend proposal. And TT was like, "Zach, I'm surprised you're involved in this. You never talk to me."
Okay.
So this should show you everything you need to know about Zach.
There you go. Like we said, he says what you want to hear on the surface, but he moves in a different way behind the scenes. Yeah. Okay.
He even tried to get Carl caught up in something. He asked Carl randomly, "What's your type?" Like, again, we are 4 days away from the finale, and you're asking Carl, "What's your type?"
Don't mess with Carl. We like Carl. Don't mess with Carl.
And Carl just like, "Yeah, tall, athletic." And he was like, "Oh, so basically Anaya?" He was like, "Yeah, she's great." And he deaded the conversation. And I'm like, he was trying to be messy. He was trying to be like, "Oh, so your type is not Anaya? I'm going to go tell Kata, who's going to go tell Trinity, who's going to go tell Anaya."
Man. So that's doing too much. That's doing too much.
Yes.
I can't co-sign to that. I can't do that.
No, Zach is literally the definition of a messy bitch. So we have Zach the messy bitch. We have Sincere the pathological liar.
Yep.
We have Casey, oh my God, let me tell you right now, Casey calling himself, saying to Sincere, yeah, TT's not worthy to be my woman. I'm sorry, what? He told Sincere, yes, she's done everything she can to prove to me that she's worthy to be my woman. Sir, what are you talking about? You're the prize? You're the prize? I keep saying to people, who gonna be the boy? Who gonna be the boy? You're the prize. And I'm not, look, I don't hate on anybody who have self-confidence, but don't tell me, yeah, she's done all she can do to prove to me that she's worthy.
Yeah, that's weird. I'll give you that. Self-confidence is fine. This dude's crossed the line pretty much every time he opens his mouth. So that's different. That's different.
Yeah. And then like the scavenger hunt was okay. It was just weird. They all got together and he was like, yeah, I have a girlfriend now. And everybody's like, girlfriend? It's been a week.
Dude.
You've been back in the villa for maybe a week and a half.
So right now, Trinity and Bryce are the couple, right? Like that's okay. They're the kind of pinnacle of what's going on here. They're okay.
I would say Trinity and Bryce number 1.
Okay.
Carl and Anaya number 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then 3 and 4 could either switch between Melanie and Sincere and Kata and Zach. And really, that is the girls doing the heavy lifting there.
I was going to say that's because the girls are lifted, like always in a relationship, right? Like that's how it goes.
And then Casey and TT are right on the heels of probably Kata and Zach. But I think enough people are like, I think Casey and his girlfriend proposal. And I told Eli this, there is a Love Island curse. And it happens every single year.
Okay.
Every single year.
Does it have anything to do with the owl or no?
No, it doesn't have nothing to do with the owl that everybody definitely has been seeing for years. And they only just acknowledged her this year. It is the I want to be exclusive the last week of the show curse.
Okay.
Everybody who does it every single time gets sent home the day after they do it.
Because you can see through that from a mile away.
Literally, because it's like,
why?
Like, why now? What is the motivation to be? It's 4 days left.
Yeah, now you're closing off. Okay.
Now you're closing off. Now you want to do it, and they always do the most elaborate. It's always the most elaborate scavenger hunt. I've seen a scavenger hunt, a cheerleading routine. I've seen a bonfire. Every single time. The next day. The next time there's a dumping, every single one gets dumped.
Makes
because
sense.
the audience clicks into it and it's like, you're literally like bullshitting us.
Yeah, we know better than that.
So,
all right.
Because of that, I have a great feeling that we will not see Casey in the final. Now, I know certain people are like, oh, I know NBA Twitter really wants to see him in the final. I know you guys want to see him in the final, but
that's wild.
There is also a large demographic that doesn't want him. And I've seen a decent amount of people vote for him instead of Sincere because they're like, Sincere's evil, or vote for Zach because Zach is evil. I'm promising y'all, Zach is evil and messy. Sincere is a pathological liar. But Casey is a bona fide scammer.
Yeah, and what if it if you're trying to figure out your vote and it comes down to one of these 3 guys, like who do you pick? Like, what would you even do?
Honestly, I had to bite the bullet last night. I had to pick Zach and Sincere over Casey because I know at least Zach. Look, I know Zach is messy.
Yeah.
But I know he's playing the game. He's not really, he's messy and he's playing the game. So that's why I put him forth. Fair. Sincere, I think he actually does have feelings for Melanie. I do. Okay. He's just a liar.
And maybe he can't, maybe it's a compulsion with him. Maybe he just some people, every time they open their mouth, Autumn, they're lying. They can't help it. And I feel like Sincere is in that boat. And I feel like he's trying so hard to look cool or legit or whatever on this show that he just keeps digging. I mean, you might as well give the kid a shovel. He just keeps digging a hole for himself every time he opens his mouth. It's wild.
Even yesterday, they went to the hideaway and they came back. The girls had a water park day. They came back. Melanie's looking at Sincere and she's like, "Did you tell the boys anything that we did in the hideaway?" And he's like, "No, I didn't really elaborate." He told them, but he didn't tell them.
Okay.
Right? He said, "Oh, we didn't do much, but we did enough." Right?
Okay.
And he said to her, I promise you, he said these words. He said, you know, you can trust me. I would never lie to you.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, we know how to determine when he's lying because his lips
She
are-
laughed in his face.
Okay, I'm glad.
She literally laughed in his face.
Good.
He didn't have his hand out. He didn't have his hand out.
Okay, that's weird. All right.
The moment. Okay, so did you see Friday's episode where the moment on the dock?
No, I didn't see
Oh
it.
no, it wasn't Friday's. It was Monday's episode. So Monday's episode, he tells her, and we all knew he wasn't lying, and every single person was like, "Oh no, I'm scared for my sister. I'm scared for her."
Oh.
This man goes, "Yeah, I really can see a future with you." He goes, "I can see you be my girlfriend, my fiance, my wife, the mother of my children." She went, and he said it with the straightest face, with the straightest tone, and didn't lift that hand or make an analogy.
Whoa.
That was the single most terrifying sentence that's ever been uttered this season.
Whoa. I don't even know how to feel about that, to be honest with you.
If that man looked at me dead in my face and said, he could tell me, Autumn, you have the biggest stain on your chest. And it could be the biggest stain on my chest. And I would say, you're lying.
Yeah.
That's how much of a liar he is.
I get it.
You're
Every
lying.
time he opens his mouth, every single time.
But you see, Chad, you got away with it because you're not getting a quiz tonight, okay?
I thought if I
Being
could just
nice.
keep this going long enough, I would dodge.
I'm being nice. But you do have to watch tomorrow's episode before the show.
Yeah,
Before
okay.
the show, you do.
Okay.
Because tomorrow's episode is important because it's Family Day.
Family Day. All
So
right.
Family Day is the Love Island producers get at least 2 to 3 family members, fly them across the world, and then get to see people in the outside world that they haven't seen in almost 3 months.
Okay.
Because for the first month, they were stuck in that hotel in Fiji.
Yeah.
Then the last 2 months, they've been in this villa. And so they get to see their family members.
Okay.
The one I'm not excited to see because I know he's going to be on some bullshit is Charlie.
Okay.
Charlie again is literally, I've never seen someone have a more terrible run on Love Island. He got eliminated first twice on 2 different versions of Love Island.
It's not good.
But yes, tomorrow's Family Day.
Okay.
Friday, I think, is probably going to be the baby challenge baby challenge, family dinner. Who's going to be in the finale? Saturday is After Sun, and we're going to get to see the aftermath of whoever gets their phone back and what they're going to say. Because whoever gets their phone back by Saturday, no matter what, they're going to have a shitstorm.
All right.
And then, of course, Sunday, finale. You can catch us here on the Inside Edge Network, where Double A and I will be live reacting to the finale.
I can't wait for that.
Now, Chad, I have my good spiral and my bad spiral of the day.
Okay.
Good spiral. Wimbledon has been great. It's been really great.
Okay.
It's been beautiful.
Okay.
I'm excited for it. I'm going to keep going. Bad spiral of the day, Jamel Hill versus Stephen A. Smith. I don't want to touch it. Nope. Anything involving Stephen A. Smith? Nope.
Cesspool.
All over a conversation about Draymond Green.
Oh my gosh. All right.
But Chad, we've come to the end.
That's it.
You guys can catch us tomorrow. We will talk about Love Island. We will not live react. It'll be a couple hours after.
Yeah.
We will react to
Fresh.
Family Day.
Yeah.
Yes, Family Day. I will give you guys another lore drop. Tomorrow, it's going to be the drug dealer and Mac Miller. And when I tell you, y'all not even ready for those stories.
Oh my.
And then, of course, we're still on LeBron watch.
Yeah.
Max Strus posted something cryptic today that was a little weird. I was like, I see you. And we'll talk about it all tomorrow.
All right.
But Eli Moon is about to take over the Crack Show. Eli, are you ready to take over the Crack Show?
I am, Autumn. It won't be as bad as Double A. Won't be as unhinged, but yeah, we're gonna get after it. Great job as always. Yes, fantastic. Cannot wait to hear the drug dealer story tomorrow. So you get after it. And yeah, we'll see you
I have a feeling all of these stories make me look really stupid, but hey, I was young and I was really dumb.
Nah. All right, Autumn. We'll see you tomorrow. Great job as always. Daily Spiral with Autumn Chisholm tomorrow with Chad Ryan. I'm Eli Moon. And yes, usually you don't see me typically around these times at night, but we're going to get after it. Station identification and Midnight Run with Anthony Alford with me filling in right after this.
This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
And welcome in, everybody, to Midnight Run here on the Inside Edge Network. I'm Eli Moon. Typically, I'd be running the ones and twos behind the screen, and our guy Double A Anthony Alford will be rocking with us. He will be back next week here. He is taking care of some things, and we wish him well. Definitely thinking of you, bro. And with that being said, I appreciate you tuning on in, rocking with us. You saw me earlier on Inside Edge Primetime with my guy Chad Bryan. Going to talk about some interesting things that have crossed my mind throughout the last 24 hours or so with some of the news recently here in Cleveland specifically. We'll get into all of that. But make sure if you're here for the first time, you like, subscribe, follow at Inside Edge Net on all of the socials. That's YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, all of it. Make sure you smash that notification bell so you know when we're going live. Daily and weekly programming here for you. Go to InsideEdgeNetwork.com. Read about your favorite personalities here on the Inside Edge Network. Check out our partners page. Could not do it without our partners. We appreciate them. Appreciate you at home. So go to the merchandise store. Grab, of course, a shirt, a hat, a mug, a polo, a windbreaker. Get it ready. Rep Cleveland's digital leader and your source for sports, entertainment, mental health conversations, news, and everything in between. And, of course, we're on Roku. Download the Inside Edge Network app on Roku and take us wherever you'd like to go. Take us with you. All right. Got a lot to get into here tonight, folks. I've been thinking, like I said, Cleveland-based, obviously, we're Cleveland's digital leader. I've been thinking, legacy, this era. You know, we talk all the time about eras. You know, we look back, you know, my dad talks about the 90s, how the 90s Indians at the time were just a team you really wanted to root for, wanted to see you win it. And obviously they had two chances in 95 and 97. They didn't get them done, but they had an opportunity to, and they were a lot of fun. So people think of all the talent on those teams. You know, you think of some of the great Cavaliers teams over the years, you know. So it got me thinking, with Donovan Mitchell signing his extension, his 4-year extension yesterday, where does he rank in terms of Cleveland legends, Cleveland icons? And then Jose Ramirez, I started thinking there as well. Now, he's out right now with injury, but the Guardians have been able to ink him to 2 different extensions, very team-friendly deals. Where does he rank? Now, we talked earlier tonight on Inside Edge Primetime. We'll dive right into it. We talked about, you know, Jose Ramirez and what are the Guardians deciding to do? You know, now, you think about it, Jose Ramirez, one of the key components on that 2016 World Series team. Since then, he hasn't been able to get back there. He's watched guys he came up through the farm system with go to different cities, whether they've struggled or done well. You know, Francisco Lindor, you've seen him go to New York. You've seen other guys leave, you know, since making an impact here in Cleveland. Shane Bieber over to Toronto. You know, Jose Ramirez has been the one constant here in Cleveland when it comes to Cleveland baseball. And I got frustrated a little earlier tonight. You know, Chad and I were discussing about, are the Guardians deciding to reset the timetable and buy into the rookies? You know, Travis Bazana, an all-star. Parker Messick, an all-star. They've had some other contributions from young guys. Chase DeLauder, Khalil Watson at times. You know, they've seen that improvement. Are they starting to reset the timetable and starting to prepare for life after Jose Ramirez? I hope not, right? And it's crazy to even utter those words. You know, Jose Ramirez obviously just inking that extension not too long ago. You would think they're trying to get one done for Jose Ramirez. Get him to his first World Series since 2016, 10 years ago. Where are the Guardians? What are the Guardians planning to do with this roster? Are they in win now mode? Or are they in, well, let's see how the talent develops and whatever happens, happens? Seems like a tale we kind of been following for quite some time. The one constant, Jose Ramirez. And I think that the Guardians at this point owe it to him to go out, make a big move, go get a big bat. I understand with the lockout impending. I understand contracts, the way contracts work. They probably don't want to take on a pretty heavy salary. But you owe it to Jose Ramirez. You're not going to have much longer with Jose Ramirez. Not saying he's turning 38, 39 tomorrow, but he's 33. He'll be 34 in September. That means by the end of this year, he'll be 34. Then if you have this lockout, he'll be 35 before he reaches, another season at MLB. We're not going to have the same exact Jose Ramirez we had at 26, 27. Not saying he's just going to completely fall off, but you'll see somewhat of a decline talent-wise. He gets older. That's what happens. That's why anomalies such as LeBron James are anomalies. Exactly that. Because you don't see that type of production in the 40s. You get to 40, 41. You don't see that type of production. The Guardians have a short timetable to get something achieved with Jose Ramirez. To hoist a World Series trophy, or at least get back to the dance. Get back to where, you just need a few games to go your way and you're the World Series champions. I know it seems like a far-fetched thought with the Guardians being a game out of the AL Central right now to the Chicago White Sox. And there's a lot of improvement, whether it is going to be by this farm system, by these rookies, by these younger guys, or if they're going to go out and get a big bat. I told Chad the other day, I said, Wilson Contreras from Boston. He's like one of those guys on the wish list in terms of if the Guardians could go out and just grab somebody like him. He could impact the locker room, create a spark, a buzz, and of course, he can hit the baseball pretty well. Something the Guardians definitely shouldn't be saying no to is more bats offensively. He's in the home run derby for Boston. He's a guy who's definitely been in the news. He's got a lot of passion. Maybe that's what you need here in Cleveland, a spark. So I think about Jose Ramirez, and then I start thinking about Donovan Mitchell. Now, Donovan Mitchell just signed a 4-year extension per Shams Charania yesterday morning. And I've been thinking, yes, Donovan Mitchell has had his decision with some of the Cavaliers. And yes, we've felt as Cavs fans and media all across the nation here has talked about Donovan Mitchell and how he hasn't felt pressure. We've definitely been hard on him here in the Inside Edge Network in terms of the no pressure comment and, I'll see y'all in 19 weeks. We're just going to get after it. I've won in life regardless if we win a championship or not. Those are some questionable comments. The Cavaliers obviously lost in a sweep to the New York Knicks, looked completely outmatched for 4 games of basketball. And if they do happen to strike out on LeBron James, now, again, I feel pretty confident he is coming back here to Cleveland. But if they do strike out on LeBron, for all intents and purposes, they're running it back without Dean Wade, without Keon Ellis. They're running back the same roster for the most part. So with Donovan Mitchell, I start to think there are more similarities than not when it comes to Jose and Donovan. The Guardians have never really brought in a bat in the Jose Ramirez era. Sure, you could say, they had Edwin Encarnacion. They had Mike Napoli, who was hitting the cover off the ball at times during that Indians run in 2016. But when it became Jose Ramirez's team, when the dust settled and Frankie's gone and it's Jose's team, they have not went out and got somebody that can absolutely impact the team offensively, and it shows. They haven't been back to the World Series in 10 years. So it's frustrating when you see that. Now, Donovan Mitchell, again, he's got a lot of hate this last offseason, or this offseason we're currently in, because of the playoff performance. We're kind of sick of not getting to where we want to get to with Donovan, which is when we traded for him from Utah, was an NBA championship. And we haven't got that. We've got to an Eastern Conference Finals as this last postseason, and that's the furthest we've gotten. Now, we obviously brought Donovan in. There was a core 4, right? Him, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. It's not really the same core 4 anymore. They've made a movement with James Harden. Thought that would be the missing ingredient. It's not. I'd be interested to see what it looks like when he gets a full season that is James Harden, here with this Cavaliers unit. Seems like he's going to take a team-friendly deal and be back here for multiple years. I'm interested in what that looks like, but that wasn't the move. And for Donovan, let's be fair, as much criticism as we've given him over the last couple of years here for the postseason runs or whatever, he really hasn't had that big move to go out in terms of roster construction, go out and say, that's my guy, let's bring him in and change how this roster looks. Now, granted, obviously he has a lot of love for the homegrown talent that's here. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, been here for quite some time. I know started his career in Brooklyn, but he's here and been here for quite some time. And then, of course, you have Darius Garland up until this past, middle of the season. And now you're trying to make it work with James Harden. I feel that this is the move that keeps Donovan here. Now, does LeBron, and that is signing LeBron James, does LeBron being here for a year ensure, we win a championship? No, maybe not. I don't know if him coming here alone wins you a championship. I think the Cavaliers have other plans, however, that are going to impact this roster. And I think the Cavaliers have involved Donovan more in terms of discussing how this roster should look. Who should run into the future with you for the next 3-4 years? If we can get LeBron here for a year, is that enough to keep it entertained in terms of then leading the next 3 after that? If we go maybe grab one with LeBron, we'll go build elsewhere around you. We look maybe into these other trades. I wonder how much they're talking to Donovan. And that's the one up I would say he has over Jose Ramirez. The Dolans really don't care to spend money. So as much as we plead, the players wanted to see a move, whatever. It's not happening. So that's the one up Donovan has. But you start to think when it comes to this era of Cleveland Cavaliers basketball, Cleveland Guardians baseball. How is this era of Cleveland going to be remembered? We have not necessarily aging, folks. I understand. 33 turning 34. Not old necessarily, but starting to get towards the back nine of the career, right? Donovan Mitchell. He'll be he's 29, he'll be 30 in September. Starting to get into the back end of his prime and the tail nine of his career. How is this era going to be remembered? Are the Cavaliers and Guardians going to go out and make the moves that can put them over the hump? They have a superstar player. I know Jose injured right now, but when he's healthy, they have a superstar player. The Cavaliers have a superstar player. Are they going to go out and make the moves and bring championships here to the city of Cleveland? That's what I've been thinking about. Just this city being able to capitalize on these moments. Stars don't come into town every single year, every decade. That's why we were so overjoyed when LeBron James came back in 2014, the second time, playing here for the Cavaliers. And you just wonder, with the Cavaliers making that extension, with Donovan, what exactly is in the cards for the Cavaliers, and with the trade deadline on August 3rd for Major League Baseball, what exactly do the Guardians have planned to put Jose Ramirez in a position to go win a championship? So keep an eye on all of that. Thank you for tuning in here on Midnight Run with Anthony Alford. I'm your guest host, Eli Moon. Like I said, usually a little weird for me being in front of the screen here at midnight, but we're rocking and rolling, man. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow at Inside Edge Net on all the socials, YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. Check it out. Make sure you smash that notification bell so you know when we're going live. Check out InsideEdgeNetwork.com. You can read about all your favorite personalities. Go check out our partners page. Cannot do without them. And go to the merchandise store. Grab something nice that's you out there. Rep Cleveland's digital leader. Whether it's a hat, a shirt, a mug, a polo, a windbreaker. Check it all out. And download the Inside Edge Network app on Roku. Take us wherever you want to go. Yes, we got 4 daily shows, weekly shows. And yes, I'm going to need a cup of coffee. You grab your drink as well. Grab your dinner if you're on the West Coast. And when we come back, we are going to talk about LeBron. We talked a little bit about what happens if the Cavaliers bring him in or if they don't bring him in. I want to talk about what story necessarily LeBron is looking for. We've discussed on Primetime and across the network. What is LeBron looking to win? Is he looking to just be happy? Is it about the money? I mean, that one seems a little off, at this point. It does not seem that way. But what exactly, what story is LeBron trying to tell? We'll talk about that here on Midnight Run. And then later on, Conor McGregor fighting again this weekend. First time in quite some time. Is this the UFC's attempt to basically keep on top of the mountain with a few other promotions making some noise, whether it comes to boxing or MMA? Is Conor McGregor going to be able to keep the UFC in the top of the MMA world, the top of discussion when it comes to combat sports? Talk about all of that here on Midnight Run when we come back. Stay with us.
Key On Sports is the leader in Ohio high school athletic coverage in written, print, and video streaming. From the latest news and results and written content to the high school football game of the week every Friday, Key On Sports has you covered. The vision of 15-time published author Vince McKee has become the most trusted site in Ohio high school athletic news. From podcasts to player profiles, Key On Sports is your one-stop for all of it. Visit them today at keyonsports.com or on YouTube at Key On Sports. Check out their socials on Twitter and Facebook as well.
Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. With over 15 flavors to choose from, you can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code InsideEdge10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Discover our collection of body mists made with clean, minimal ingredients. Handcrafted with natural essential oils and clean ingredients, they offer a natural alternative to synthetic fragrances. Perfect for sensitive skin and those seeking clean, mindful self-care, and the perfect gift for you or your special someone. Courtesy of Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers, use that promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Whether searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at SportsMemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and players. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the SportsMemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Go to SportsMemorabilia.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. SportsMemorabilia.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Find us on InsideEdgeNetwork.com for the latest information on your favorite shows, personalities, and network partners. Plus, guess what? We have a merch shop. That's right, we have network polos, t-shirts, champion jackets, hats, and bottles. Rep the network. Every purchase supports independent sports and entertainment media. Use the QR code on your screen right now to check out InsideEdgeNetwork.com. That's InsideEdgeNetwork.com.
This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
And welcome back to Midnight Run here on the Inside Edge Network. Double A, Anthony Alford, away this week. He'll be back with us next week, taking care of some things. I know he'll have a lot to talk about when he comes back here next week. Cannot wait to hear what he has to say. I'm Eli Moon. I'm here with you until 1 in the morning. So, yeah. Kind of crazy. I'm usually up, obviously, till 1 in the morning, producing, Double A doing his thing. I'm rocking out, call me on screen from time to time. Usually 10 to 11 is like the domain, right? Primetime. And I'll tell you, kind of feels a little weird. I'm rocking with you the full midnight hour. I appreciate you welcoming me into your homes, wherever you may be. And we got a lot to talk about here. LeBron James. We are officially still on watch. Almost entering double digits, folks. The longest it's been for LeBron to sign from free agency, July 11th. Now, today is July 9th, 20 minutes into July 9th, so we are entering that territory. And we've talked across the network. You've heard Kyle Cornell, the host of Unfiltered here on the Inside Edge Network. You've heard Chad Bryan, my co-host on Inside Edge Primetime. You've heard Double A mentioned here on Midnight Run. That the teams have gone from, centered in on 2 to 6. And then maybe now it's 3, maybe 2. It makes you wonder. how long has LeBron really known his decision? Because at this point, watching the podcast, Max Kellerman and Rich Paul going at it, talking about here's the whiteboard and here's why this is a negative for this team and here's what we like about this team. Having Bob Myers. Now, a lot of us, may or may not be familiar here in Cleveland, but if you look into the front office at Golden State at the time, they were on their dynasty run. Bob Myers, a part of that Golden State front office. He's in Philadelphia, folks, along with Mike Gansey, who's here in Cleveland. Had an opportunity to keep him here, and the Cavaliers let him test other options, and he's already making a case for Executive of the Year in Philadelphia with the Jaylen Brown trade. The moves they've also made, just to strengthen that lineup around Joel Embiid, around Tyrese Maxey, around VJ Edgecombe. It's interesting there in Philadelphia. Bob Myers on that podcast talking with Max Kellerman, talking with Rich Paul, and here's why LeBron would make so much sense in Philadelphia. We hear Giannis Antetokounmpo, the new member of the Miami Heat, his front court dominance. They're expecting there in Miami with him and Bam Adebayo. You have two guys that are dominant forces. I know Chad loses his mind every time he hears us talk about the 83-point game for Bam Adebayo, but it happened. It happened. He did have 83 points in a game. And obviously, all joking aside, Bam Adebayo is a pretty talented two-way player. Put him next to Giannis. Does LeBron go there? Does he team up and make a dominant front court? You have that Pat Riley effect. While we're just moving along the teams, the Pat Riley effect. LeBron was there with Dwayne Wade, with Chris Bosh. Young Eric Spoelstra. Crazy to say, but yes, young Eric Spoelstra. Near the beginning of his head coaching tenure there in Miami, where they learn how to win. Pat Riley's celebrating with these guys. Multiple championships, 4 title experiences. Obviously, 2 of them turned into championships. And then LeBron comes back home. Now, we're not complaining here. Cleveland's digital leader. We're not mad LeBron came back home. But you wonder, what's the story there? And this is the whole thing. When we think about LeBron, what's the story? We just talked about Philadelphia for a moment. Obviously, they've been title hungry in the basketball minds, or in the basketball world with the Sixers. They want to get to the finals. They haven't been there in a long time. Can LeBron do it and bring a championship there to be a championship in Cleveland, Miami, LA, and then Philadelphia? He stays in the Eastern Conference, so he has to battle some of his foes. Kawhi Leonard. You have to play Jason Tatum again to get back to the finals. You have to play Cleveland. There's a lot there with Philadelphia. And obviously the roster shaped very well. He slots right in there next to Joel Embiid, next to Jaylen Brown, in that front court. It's interesting. So you have Philadelphia. Again, we talked about Miami, the factor of he's already been there before, the location. He's familiar. He knows the weather. He knows the fan base. He knows Heat culture. We talk about all that all the time. Heat culture. LeBron knows it. And for Pat Riley, who's getting older, we talk about that here in Cleveland, Dan Gilbert. For Pat Riley, he already had one fish come, he caught the big fish with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Can he really bring LeBron James back there as well? That's interesting. Is it enough to win a championship, though? And then, of course, you have Golden State, the bros, Stephen Curry, Draymond Green. You have those guys LeBron could team up with, and maybe they can get Anthony Davis away from Washington. Washington has been pretty adamant about not moving him. We'll see if they stick to that. Can he team up with his bros and just have some fun? Is it about fun? Is it about being happy? We've heard that. Is it one of these other sleeper teams, Minnesota, Denver, where you can place it with some young, great talent in Minnesota that maybe need some guidance in Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball? Denver, you team up with Jokic. The story writes itself. 2 guys that are all around freaks of nature in terms of on the basketball court. But I think it's just, what does LeBron want at this point? I've been thinking about it, just moving down these different rosters. We hear all the time, what's the perfect fit? And, hear the national media, Cleveland's not the perfect fit. I'll give it to you. James Harden and Donovan Mitchell both going to need the basketball for their games to make the most sense. But we have seen flashes of when James Harden can just get rid of the basketball, run that pick and roll, make the pass to Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, get rid of the basketball, make it to one of the shooters. it works out pretty well. Donovan Mitchell, you saw a little bit more off the ball movement when it came to this past season, the season before. Yes, is it always pretty? No, of course not. But you got to be a little optimistic here. Maybe not nationally, because I understand Cleveland's probably not your popular opinion. You would rather him go play in Golden State, team up with Steph Curry, have that story, go team up with one of these other superstars. Which is crazy because we've spent time on the main event, and AA's brought this to light, where Donovan Mitchell's being poised, positioned to be one of the superstars of the NBA. He's on the commercials. They're advertising when they mention NBA superstars, and maybe he's not quite there yet. No MVPs to show for yet. Just got to the Eastern Conference Finals, but there's something to be said about him signing a 4-year extension yesterday. And the Cavaliers still kind of weighing their options. Do they move off Max Strus? What do they do with Dennis Schroeder? The story here writes itself. LeBron comes home for the trilogy. The roster may not be perfect, but ultimately, it's something that LeBron can learn to work with. If they want to make a move off of one of the front court, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, they can do so. They can find a way to create more spacing. They're going to be open to interpretation if the Cavaliers bring LeBron back in. Because they're not going to just bring LeBron in and go, this is it. That's not enough to win a championship in the year 2026, year 2027. It's just not. They're going to have to bring somebody in, whether it's DeMar DeRozan, whether it's getting the Wizards to get off of Anthony Davis. And then the big question is, can he stay healthy? But you're going to make another move, and that's going to be telling in the next couple of days. I think we see things really heat up in order for the Cavaliers to be in position. That's the story, though. He comes back home, finishes it here, the third run here in Cleveland, where it began, his NBA career began. He lifted a championship here 10 years ago. Did he sign back here? Of course, if it's about winning a championship, you could argue Miami might be in a better position. You have Giannis, you have Bam. You're making some of these moves to position yourself depth-wise. Sure, LeBron definitely puts you in a better position. Minnesota, you could have the argument. Anthony Edwards, one of the young rising stars in the NBA. Maybe. But why not Cleveland? I know the bad taste in everybody's mouth. The sweep to New York Knicks. The game one just debacle where we blew it. The Cavaliers blew it. But they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. Adding LeBron doesn't make you the favorite in the Eastern Conference, but it definitely puts you in the talks of we can definitely come out of the East. Now, how do we make this team finals bound? How do we make this team championship ready? Is it going to take moving off of Jared Allen now in the front court or Evan Mobley? Because it's one thing's for certain here in Cleveland. Again, it's Donovan Mitchell is here to stay. These other teams, maybe excluding Miami, because I think Miami gives LeBron a little bit of a chance because Giannis isn't in the same mindset. If it is about winning, then they have the same mindset. Giannis wants to go win. That's why he's not in Milwaukee anymore, folks. But these other teams, it's really just a reunion to have some fun with the bros, kick it on the court, have fun, stay where you're comfortable at. If it is Golden State, if it is the Warriors, and he just wants to have fun. So what story is LeBron trying to tell? Does he want to get uncomfortable? Go to one of the unknowns, Philadelphia, Denver, Minnesota, win for it, Denver's already got one with Jokic. That's more of a team up with the bro type situation, but also somewhere that hasn't had a ton of consistent success, and he can go win one in Denver, go win one in Minnesota. It's interesting. And then, of course, you have Miami, the comfortability there. The relationship with Pat Riley, is it all the way repaired? Eric Spoelstra there. It's interesting. Very interesting, We talked about all this offseason thus far before the moves were made that Giannis and LeBron would be the ultimate pairing in Cleveland. Could happen in Miami. And, of course, you start talking about Cleveland. You bring it back here. The story, comes home, the trilogy. And arguably the best chance to win an NBA championship out of the teams that he has left to decide from. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. Of course, LeBron, it's up to you, bud. We're just going to sit here and wait. We talked, and Kyle talked about it yesterday. People are like, why can't he just sign? We're ready for him to sign. Well, he could wait as long as he'd like he could wait till August and we'll all be sitting here at the edge of our seat waiting to see where he goes for his upcoming season, because he does still move the needle. Now, does he move the needle to an NBA championship? I think out of all the teams left, again, I don't think he wins you an NBA championship alone. You got to make another move. But he definitely makes it more fun. Definitely makes it more entertaining. So I'll sign up for that. We'll see if the Cavaliers can get it done. And when we come back here on Midnight Run, we'll talk about a team that, okay, we're not expecting championships from just yet. But with a dome being talked about and being built, and, you got the new head coach and kind of got a changing of the tide, your star defensive end's not here anymore. Well, if you had not known any better, you want to know that I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns with a completely different look here when it comes to some of your familiar faces no longer being in town. We'll talk about them and if they can finally reset the clock, not only at quarterback, but in terms of the culture that was here for just a second. Can they bring it back? Talk about the Cleveland Browns, and then we'll talk about Conor McGregor. He's back this Saturday, and the UFC seem to be calling all of the big dogs in, anybody they have left, to basically stay on top of the conversation when it comes to combat sports. We'll talk about all that when we come back here on Midnight Run. Anthony Alford on vacation this week, taking care of some things. He'll be back next week. I'm Eli Moon, and we're back on the Inside Edge Network right after this.
Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and, well, everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to Fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. That's Fanatics.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Small business owners are superheroes, but nowadays running your business means doing so inside your shop and on social media. That's why you should make Omega Video Marketing your sidekick.
With a decade of content creation experience, I create dynamic, informative, and fun videos for your specific social needs that will increase brand awareness, get you more followers, and keep your social pages and websites current and fresh.
I offer flexible pricing and turn times and will work with you to understand your brand and your story. All of that comes from the heart. My award-winning expertise is just the cherry on top. So let's get connected. After all, your brand is the alpha and my expertise is the omega.
Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Inside Edge Network's very own Ryan Mosser and his wife, Hallie. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. MosserMomentsPhotography.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
Welcome back to Midnight Run here on the Inside Edge Network. And I was thinking during the break, I said, man, people probably been missing Double A a ton. I mean, first off, unhinged sports talk from everywhere from sports. You got sports, you got the entertainment aspect. He's talked about some of the biggest stories in pop culture and even some food that we probably shouldn't be eating. Honey buns in different forms and stylings, if you will. Just wild. The one thing I was thinking, that they definitely, the people you of course out there, everybody listening, probably miss about, Double A being here or not here this week is the Keurig. You hear it starts brewing, you even hear it during the first minute or two, and that's how you know Double A's about to rock. And don't worry, he will be back next week rocking with you here on Midnight Run. I'm Eli Moon. I'm filling in here for Double A, and I hope you've been enjoying thus far. We got a few more things to get into here this evening. I'll be with you again Thursday and Friday here, the rest of the week, and we'll get into it. But I had a thought on my mind here. We started the show with the talk of Jose Ramirez, Donovan Mitchell. What will this era be remembered, especially for those two teams? If we're just isolating those two teams, what will the era be remembered by? Now, of course, Jose's been here a little bit longer than Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan chose the Cavaliers yesterday morning. He signed the extension. There was a lot of people thinking he wasn't going to talk about an extension till next summer, when he would just basically ink a new deal if he wanted to stay here in Cleveland, or does he go somewhere else? Well, we don't have to worry about that, at least for the foreseeable future. Donovan here now in Cleveland. Jose Ramirez choosing the Guardians twice with two very team-friendly deals. What is this era going to look like? Are they going to go out and make the moves necessary in their respective sports to go win a championship? Then it got me thinking, all right, the Cleveland Browns, can't avoid them because this is a Browns town, whether you want to argue, whether you want to discuss it, whatever you want to do. I mean, it's just the truth of the matter, folks. The Browns could go 0-16. They've gone 0-16. The stadium still gets to a point where it is packed out again. It may take a few games, whatever, a little bit of a rejuvenation period, but one thing's for certain. Everybody goes to the Muni lot. Everybody's in Cleveland Browns Stadium. It's just the reality of where we're at. And keep in mind, the Cavaliers, the only championship in the last 52 years here in Northeast Ohio. Again, that's why it's so imperative that the Cleveland Browns start to figure it out. Because with the Cavaliers about to possibly bring back LeBron James, maybe retool this roster to a point where it can go win another NBA championship. If the Guardians do find a way to find magic, whether it's to the rookies and these young guys, or they go make a move or two, whatever it may be, and they can go win a championship. Now we're having a different discussion. Now, mixed in with the lack of success the Browns have had here in Cleveland since they returned, since the franchise returned here to the city, there hasn't been a ton of success. And that might be enough to be like, okay, now we're having a discussion about what town this really is. Is this a Guards town now? Is this a Cavs town? But the Browns have an interesting point in time right now. Now, think about it. 2017, they drafted Myles Garrett. 2018, they drafted Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb, a real nucleus of that team. And it took about, a few seasons to really, really put it together to where, okay, everything's around these guys to where they can go win a championship. And it didn't work out that way, but there was a moment in time where we felt good about what we had. At quarterback with Baker Mayfield, we felt good about having one of the best, if not the best, even at that time. Defensive end in football, Myles Garrett. He had a lockdown corner in Denzel Ward, who's still here, mind you. Still here, folks. One of the last pieces of the last era. This era we're ushering into right now, obviously a little different. We'll get to that in a moment. But you had those pieces. Nick Chubb at running back. A special unit. Then it all kind of came to a quick end. Baker Mayfield, the injury, and then wanted to play through it, and then all the discussion around if he is the franchise quarterback, and moved out of town. Then, not too long after, Nick Chubb suffers an injury. A season-ending injury. Was never really the same after that. The Browns eventually move on from Nick Chubb. Not too long after that. And Myles Garrett, now this offseason, moved to the Los Angeles Rams. Trade. We brought in Jared Verse via trade from the Los Angeles Rams. That's the move. Now that era of Browns football, that nucleus, is all but pretty much gone. We're entering a new era of Cleveland Browns football. It's led by guys like Quinshon Judkins, who, depending who you talk to, it sounds like they're expecting, the Browns are expecting them to have a big year. They're going to have to rely on a little bit of the running game to help establish these passing lanes for whoever is at quarterback. Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson, whatever have you. You're going to have Harold Fannin, who I believe is going to take that next step this year into the top 10, top 5 discussion of tight ends. I think he's already probably in that top 10 discussion. But top 5 for Harold Fannin, definitely capable of doing so. He's been a delight for the Browns on offense. You have Denzel Boston, who a lot of people are high on. He can go grab the football, get it at the high point in the air, score touchdowns. You got a guy there in Denzel Boston that really could impact the offense for the receiving core, something we haven't had in quite some time. Then, of course, you have Casey Concepcion, the first-round pick as well for the Browns. Can he be that possession guy, that guy that goes and gets a quick route, run to the outside, or, a quick slant, breaks away, gets into open space, and he's gone. There's things there for the Browns on offense that you can be excited about. I know it's not the fun thing to do here in Cleveland, get your hopes up, get excited about the Browns possibly being good for once. And I'm not saying good this year, folks. Let's pump the brakes. I think if they got 6 to 7 wins, that would be incredible. 8 to 9 wins would be awesome, but let's be realistic. There's a lot of young pieces that I just mentioned, though exciting and I think can really show a lot of promise. They're still putting it together. We just mentioned how it took a little bit of time for Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett to get to the playoffs. They had to get some depth around them. That's where the Browns are kind of right now. But they know at running back they can count on Judkins. We'll see how he looks after the injury. Fannin, he's looked sharp. He looked great his rookie season. Really promising there. And then you're curious to see what Boston and Concepcion looks like. But you may have something. The line completely overhauled. You're not seeing Joel Bitonio on that line anymore. You're not seeing Wyatt Teller. You're not seeing some of these guys that were mainstays on the Cleveland Browns offensive line. No, it's a fresh look. At quarterback, it begs the question, are we going to see Shedeur Sanders for 17 games? Are we going to see if the Browns say, let's see what we got with him once and for all? And if he is the guy, then guess what? We got him on a rookie contract, still a 5th-round contract for at least another year. And we can see what it looks like that second year. And then, okay, we got to ink him to a contract extension. But at least we know we got the guy. We're done playing around. And Shedeur Sanders is the franchise quarterback. And if not, the Browns are in a position where, hey, 2027 appears to be a loaded quarterback draft. Go out and get one of these guys. If that's what you want to do, whether it is Arch Manning or Dante Moore, Brendan Sorsby, that would drive me crazy. I can't lie, folks. But you got these options here at quarterback next year. That's the worst thing that happens, but you have to at least see what Shedeur Sanders gives you. I understand the money invested in Deshaun Watson, the moves you've made. He's one of the last parts of the era. He is involved in that Baker Mayfield era. He was a guy they moved off of Baker for to go get Deshaun. They decided Baker wasn't the guy. They wanted Deshaun Watson. Deshaun is one of the last parts of this era that the Browns are, for one way, for either a good reason or a bad reason, we'll find out, moving on from. They moved on from Baker, moving on from Myles, they moved on from Nick Chubb. Denzel's still here, but we'll see how much longer. I'd love for him to be here long term, but it all depends on what the Browns are looking at. One thing's for certain, though. We've seen enough of Deshaun Watson as quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Let's look at a new era, see what the Browns can do, and inject some life into football here, into a football city, for the first time in a few years. It's been tough to do so because of how stagnant the offense has been. The discussion around the offensive line getting old, getting tired, getting injured. These different things. The Browns have a chance to really start a new era. It doesn't have to mean 8, 9, 10, 11 wins this year. But at least look promising. Show some steps. Shedeur Sanders can be that guy. Judkins can look good running the ball. The passing options are there. Defensively, you have a guy stepping up, appears as a leader, which is Carson Schlesinger. Schlesinger, since the Myles Garrett trade, has been very vocal in terms of stepping up, being there, not only for his players, but his teammates, but the community. He's there. He's very involved in everything Cleveland. I think the Cleveland Browns got a good one there. Defensive Rookie of the Year, a guy that I think could have another big leap it's interesting. So keep an eye on the Cleveland Browns, this new era. I think they have a few things they still have to shed in terms of getting to this new era, getting to the Dome, in Brook Park, Todd Monken, will he be there for the Brook Park Dome? I think he will be, but I think he wants to run his offense with the best option. What does that necessarily mean? We'll find out here soon. Football will be starting up here soon officially. We'll get preseason. We'll get to the point where, we can really look at how the Browns are thinking at quarterback. I've heard a lot of talk about it. Now we'll kind of see how this era looks for the Cleveland Browns. But it does feel with the the movement of Myles Garrett, with the movement of these pieces that were once on the team and rocking and rolling, and it just feels a little different. Let's see if it feels like a good different here by December, by January, by the end of the year, beginning of next year. How do we feel about the Browns then? How do we feel going into a draft? Is it a add to this nucleus that we finally feel good about again for the first time since 2018, that draft class, that 17-18 draft class mix? And they've added, they added after that obviously, but that was the piece right there, that 17-18 draft class. Can we feel good about a nucleus again? Can we just add to it, or do we got to kind of still look for the main parts of a winning football culture? So that's where we're at. We spent the beginning of the show talking about the Guardians and the Cavaliers. If they can make that next step to a championship, for the Browns is, can they develop something in terms of culture to then start winning consistently, to be in discussion for championships? There's tiers, there's levels to it. So we'll kind of keep an eye on all of that. When we come back, though, I want to talk about Conor McGregor. That's what we'll end with. Conor McGregor fights this Saturday for the UFC against Max Holloway. Holloway's been waiting for a rematch. Is this the UFC's way of saying, like, hey, we're the main attraction when it comes to combat sports? We've heard all the buzz about everything else, boxing, and MVP getting into MMA as well. Seems interesting. It's been a while for Conor McGregor. We'll talk about that to end the show. This is Midnight Run here on the Inside Edge Network. I'm Eli Moon, filling in for AA Anthony Alford, who will be back next week. And we'll talk some Conor McGregor right after this.
Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and, everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. That's fanatics.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Small business owners are superheroes, but nowadays running your business means doing so inside your shop and on social media. That's why you should make Omega Video Marketing your sidekick.
With a decade of content creation experience, I create dynamic, informative, and fun videos for your specific social needs that will increase brand awareness, get you more followers, and keep your social pages and websites current and fresh.
I offer flexible pricing and turn times and will work with you to understand your brand and your story. All of that comes from the heart. My award-winning expertise is just the cherry on top. So let's get connected. After all, your brand is the alpha and my expertise is the omega.
Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Inside Edge Network's very own Ryan Mosser and his wife, Hallie. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at monstermomentsphotography.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. monstermomentsphotography.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
Welcome back to Midnight Run here, everybody. Double A Anthony Alford back with you next week. Eli Moon, that's me. I'm here with you for another 10 minutes or so. Talked about a lot here. We talked about the Guardians and the Cavaliers and the next steps and how they treat their stars. Donovan Mitchell here for the foreseeable future. Jose Ramirez here as well for the foreseeable future. We'll keep an eye on all that. Talked about LeBron. You know, what story is LeBron trying to tell here in Cleveland? Is he trying to tell it in Philadelphia? You know, what exactly is his story? Is it happiness? Is it a championship? Kind of keep an eye on all that. And, of course, we talked about the Cleveland Browns, the next era. Can they move forward, you know, not only just at quarterback, but these other positions? Can they build a nucleus we can be proud of and feel like, okay, we can add to this instead of having to tear it apart again, re-add, you know, put a Band-Aid here, and it's just too much, folks. Too much. We gotta work on it. Keep an eye on all that. See what Todd Monken and the guys do in Berea. All right. One last thing to talk about here tonight. Again, I'm here with you tomorrow at midnight. And very excited to be there, be here, be wherever with you on Midnight Run for the next 2 nights. Got a few things I'm excited to chat about. That I did a little more research in terms of I wanted to make sure we were well prepared with some of these things I want to talk about. Tonight, however, I'm more than prepared to talk about Conor McGregor. Now, this is the guy, when you talk about MMA, and sure, you got Ronda Rousey as well. You have John Jones, some of these names. When you talk about entertainment star, mixed with an athlete, there's not too many MMA guys that are crossover and newsworthy in that, like Conor McGregor. So a few others you could think of. Again, Ronda Rousey comes to mind, especially on, when it comes to setting, trailblazing women's MMA. But then you think of Conor McGregor. He's shocked the world. He had the knockout to Jose Aldo. Wins the title in 13 seconds. Became the star of MMA. The controversial press conferences. The rise to the top. The win in New York City against Eddie Alvarez. Just a lot of interesting moments. The battles with Nate Diaz. Of course, all that controversy with him and Khabib Nurmagomedov. And how that all went down. And that kind of killed some of the momentum, for a moment with Conor. And then you have these different discussions. Is he going to fight Michael Chandler? Before that, let's back up for a moment. He did have that fight right before COVID. Pretty much stopped the world for a moment. Beat Cowboy Cerrone, had that interesting finish in the first round. It was very quick. But then you have the Dustin Poirier loss. He loses January 23rd, 2021. Then he fights Dustin Poirier again and loses July 10th, 2021. 2 straight losses to Dustin Poirier. Then you have the Chandler Chronicles where he breaks his toe. He's out. He's not able to fight Michael Chandler. That fight never happens. After all, the Ultimate Fighter, just whatever you want to call it, the drama and all that. You never get this fight. You wonder if Conor McGregor is ever going to fight again. And then a rematch a decade or, over a decade, about I believe 13 years. You have Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor in Las Vegas, Nevada. Welterweight fight, non-title fight. Two guys that are contenders for the welterweight division. That, if Max Holloway, who decides to stay up here, reminder, both these guys started at featherweight. But if they decide to stay up here, whoever wins this fight will be in position to maybe have one more fight after this and go fight for the welterweight title, Especially if it's Conor McGregor. Now, who, mind you, turns 38. He'll be 38 soon. July 14th. Right after this, this weekend. The UFC wants to capitalize on whatever storylines they can, whatever angles they can, box office numbers they can with Conor McGregor. And they understand with MVP Promotions, who just had that big fight, they had Francis Ngannou on the undercard, they had Nate Diaz on the undercard, Mike Perry, who fought for the UFC, Junior Dos Santos was on the undercard. They had a lot of guys that fought for the UFC for quite some time. Extended periods of time. Were champions in some of these guys. Ngannou, Junior Dos Santos. These guys were champions. You had Ronda Rousey. We just mentioned her in MVP Promotions. John Jones sitting at the commentary booth at times, talking about how he's trying to get out of his UFC contract. And the reports are, murmurs here and there. Is he actually going to do it? We'll see. But is John Jones going to go fight Francis Ngannou at MVP Promotions? Is he going to fight, with, the promotion run by Jake Paul, Netflix, that conglomeration? Are they going to do one of the biggest heavyweight fights, if not biggest fights of all time, under MVP Promotions? For the UFC, Conor McGregor is kind of one of your last marketable, push it into the mainstream, get the UFC back into jockeying into the eyes, are all on the UFC for combat sports. Can Conor help elevate a few stars? Can some of these cards draw national attention to some of these UFC fighters? It's kind of been stripped down in terms of who can be personable and who cannot be. But maybe they get back to where some of these stars are able to be themselves. And I'm not saying to highlight the bad stuff that goes on. There's some bad, unfortunately, there's guys that have bad attitudes, bad personalities that are getting to the top, seeing some real terrible things. There's also a lot of good in the UFC, good in combat sports, and I think we need to see that personality, and I think that'll help out. But right now, MVP Promotions, they're gearing up for, it seems like, some big fights. Boxing, they're already doing their thing. Whether you like Jake Paul or not, they're always putting on fights that people are tuning into. Netflix easily accessible. So you have that. You have boxing, this past weekend, Abdullah Mason, the Mason brothers from Cleveland, Tiger Johnson from Cleveland. You had these guys fighting. They're all victorious. It's interesting right now. It's not just a discussion like it was 5-6 years ago, 7-8 even years ago when the UFC was in the limelight. Big cards were happening. They were doing unique stuff. They were having this rise of popularity amongst mainstream fans, invested hardcore fans and casuals. But now by some of the decisions they made, whether it is, where they're holding events now, whatever your opinion is, the White House card had a lot of discussion about whether that's the right place to have it or not, and all the discussion there. You have different fighters that are being elevated to the limelight that maybe shouldn't be getting a shine. And it shows, to some point, we have these discussions about, who the NFL decides to spotlight. And same with the NBA and the MLB and, NHL, whatever. We have to have that same discussion about UFC and MMA. Are we going to keep giving the microphone to some of these guys that shouldn't be saying some of the vile things they're saying? So that's another thing the UFC runs into. It's kind of combat sports as a whole sometimes. But it's interesting. Nonetheless, Conor McGregor fights this weekend. We'll see if he can reignite the spark for the UFC. Or if Max Holloway gets it done, we'll kind of keep an eye on that as well. Max Holloway, I love him. I think he's a great fighter. He doesn't have that crossover, that mainstream buzz as Conor, though. Conor win for the UFC could be a big rest of the summer. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. But that's my time here tonight. I'll be with you tomorrow and Friday. I appreciate you tuning in. Double A Anthony Alford. Wow, Double A Anthony Alford back with you next week. My name's Eli Moon. I will be back with you tomorrow on Inside Edge Primetime with my guy Chad Bryan starting at 10 o'clock. Then the Daily Spiral with Autumn Chisholm and Chad Bryan at 11. Then I'm back here at midnight. Unfiltered returning next week, 5 to 6 p.m. And then, of course, Double A back here at midnight next week. I'll be on vacation. But excited to talk with you the next few days. We appreciate you. If you're still awake right now, start to wind down, relax. LeBron's not signing tonight. You don't have to worry about it. Love Island's over, for now, for just a moment. You can breathe, relax, and get some sleep, like Double A would say. Get some sleep, because you got to work tomorrow. All right? I'm Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. There's a midnight run here on the Inside Edge Network, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.